Now, I know they use that word, Stephen, but you're not allowed to use it. Oh, hi.
What happens off camera stays off camera.
Very Japanese bastards.
I forgot you were breeding rabbits. Yeah.
How are we all doing? This is going
Brett
to
was
I'm
asking
done.
who-
I'm tired of
who
going
ma-
to fight.
Stamp it and leave.
It's been one of those kind of a week. So how's everybody doing? Arik, you're not joining. Arik's in the chat. Come on, Arik, join.
So was it work dues you had to do all week then, or just?
It was work dues. There was a party, my wife's friend's party last week. Work due. Monday. Well, it was a friend of mine, a person I've worked with for a long time. Came to the Glasgow office, so invited for drinks, and then we had public drinks a couple of nights as well, and
It added up then, did it?
and then today there was problems at work, so it was like stress. Sorted it all out, and beer.
Here.
Oh
well.
You were surfing, Ollie. You were surfing. Yes.
Yeah, today we had our first bit of sunshine all summer so far, and there was a few waves, so I went surfing. I'm going back tomorrow morning early as well, hopefully.
Fantastic.
As in like 7.
That's
probably need to get up at 6 or something like that and then go surfing.
That's enthusiasm for a Saturday morning. I'm not going to be. My intention tomorrow is midday. How I think about getting out of bed.
Yeah, catch up.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Well, I'll reevaluate tomorrow morning.
It depends when you get to bed, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the general plan. And then
3 a.m. we'll still be here. It's happened before, so
5 a.m.
Well, if you include Edwin, he was still.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, he really, that was a new standard set right there. That I know you're not keeping up with that.
That's one of my most bastardly moves, but I think it was one of my best bits of work right there. So
certainly fairly amusing. Yeah, good.
Well, Keith saying he enjoyed the RMC video. Thank you very much. I have to say, while I was preparing it, I thought this is really dull. I'm so dull. Part 1.
Interesting. I don't think they're meant to be exciting.
5, and the 5-3-2 and the 6-9-3.
It came across really well. I watched it on YouTube.
I tried my best to inject a bit of humor into it. It really.
Yeah. No, it was well put together, man. It was good.
Obviously, people liked it as well. It's done quite well on his channel.
Yep.
Yeah, it's done better than expected. Of course, now I've got my. So you've all heard this, but I'll tell everybody listening just in case they want to know. But I've got my wife and my mother-in-law sitting in the kitchen reading the comments, the positive comments, and they say something. Stephen is a legend.
That's so supportive. That's great.
You're not allowed to get a big head in this house. It's a Scottish thing, though. Anywhere else in the world, they'd be like, "Oh, you've done really well."
Yeah, celebrate. I know here we'll knock you down as quick as you can climb back up. To be honest, that seems to be the way. Yep.
But I wouldn't have it any other way. It's fine.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same in Ireland. There's not much tolerance for compliments in general.
Oh, you get compliments, but they're backhanded.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell though, because the standard answer when someone asks you how you're doing isn't "I'm really well, thanks." It's "not bad." Like you start saying it's not bad, and that's good apparently. But you don't say, "Oh, I'm brilliant. I've had a really good time." No, it's "not bad." So yeah, you're kind of set up for that, really, aren't you? That's just the way it operates. Start at the bottom end.
We were here having a meet once, and I gave Duncan a Spectrum. Can't remember what it was, but it was a Spectrum or some sort.
It's a toast rack.
No, but it was a clone toast rack.
That's right. I think I was there when that happened,
And
actually.
his answer was, I don't care what they say about you, Stephen. All right.
Someone's full of burger meat.
Somebody's at McDonald's.
Oh, they were.
Hello.
Hey, Orla.
We're in the delights of McDonald's in Stevenson at the moment.
Not even Paisley.
No.
Wow. Did you at least get yourself a Happy Meal?
Jane's currently ordering on the app.
Yes.
Ah.
It's a surprise, I think.
I hope it's a Happy Meal.
Mm-hmm. I might go against the grain and order a fillet of fish. Oh, there's Fish Wives.
A fillet of fish wives. You could do that as a sort of short version.
I missed the reference.
Yeah, you could condense an episode down just to the relevant points and call it a fillet of fish wives, couldn't you?
The snippets are called fish fingers.
Brilliant. YouTube shorts. Excellent.
That's that.
Fish fingers. Retro fish fingers.
That's what you should call the.
That's
See the little bits that you take out. Fish fingers. They need to come on dressed up as Captain Birdseye.
Well, we had Captain Birdseye, but Captain Birdseye hasn't joined yet. I think he's in the chat though. Chucky, are you joining? What?
I made a thumbnail for you and everything.
Oh.
He says his girlfriend did a 24-hour shift yesterday, and she's doing a 24-hour shift tomorrow, and she wouldn't appreciate him talking shit. So,
Oh well.
I don't know if I've got anything retro to talk about.
All right. Well, good night.
Yeah.
It's been great, guys. Cheers.
There was that
Wait,
Sega
you got
thing
the-
you sent earlier, Ollie. That looks interesting. I've pinged the guy.
Oh, the repro board for the motor.
Well, that's exactly what I'm
Oh,
looking
yeah.
for. So,
Well, that's what fails most usually on Model 2 cabinets. Yeah.
so it's a
I mean,
full
yours
feedback.
is fucked anyway. It's fried. Like it's
Yeah.
So
No, it's a TQFP chip, and there are pins missing. They've rusted off.
yeah.
Oh.
But the whole base of the whole machine was, rusted. I don't. Do you think the cab was sitting somewhere damp, or
The warehouse where I got them there was no heat.
right?
It was the back of a house. Like there was no heat.
So it would have been just
insulation or anything like that. So it just collects damp,
Yeah.
But like those cabs are known for collecting damp anyway. Those big metal cabinets didn't see much air. I know there was fans everywhere, but that usually pushed dust onto.
Oh,
boards.
those fans, better days.
Yeah, they're crusty as well. Like when the fans are worse than the boards.
Yeah.
Crunchy.
I was looking for replacement fans, and they're not cheap either.
I don't think you need them, to be honest. It's just because it won't be on 24/7. Like,
Yeah.
so
It's likely
if
to be
they're
on
an hour at
at a
most.
time, max.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I
We're
suppose
on the
when I-
move.
No.
It
Did you give up?
appears that the click and collect space bit shuts at 8 o'clock. So we're
Oh.
now having to join a line of PCP courses in the drive-through.
There's this Forza.
But so like if the main stack works, that might solve your problem altogether.
Yeah, that'll
You get
be
the force
everything.
feedback.
Although
working
actually, my
here.
biggest problem at the moment is not having anywhere to put the machine. It's-
Is that the one that's in pieces downstairs?
yeah,
Ah.
Club.
I need a floor poured before I can put it where it needs to go,
Then maybe a bigger doorway.
and a bigger doorway. Yeah, that monitor will not go through that door.
No.
Really, is it that narrow? The
It's 25 inches exactly to the door right now. It'll get done. It'll get
Yeah.
done.
On the
So
massive
Graham was
to-do
here.
list.
You were. Wait, was it last week you were here? Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I showed you.
Yeah. He gave us the grand tour. Yep. No, it was good. Big difference, even just having the tanking down in that bit. To be honest.
Yeah. Massive difference.
Mm.
So what made you do the thumbnails, Ollie? Were you really bored the other night?
Yeah. No, what did we? You mentioned something, and I well, how did it happen? There's a reasoning behind it.
Thought went into it. Wow.
I triggered
Oh,
him
yeah,
off
I
doing
know.
a track.
Yeah, anyway. And I spent an hour on it, which is way too much time.
But did you enjoy yourself?
Well, by the time I came to doing my face, I was like, fuck it. Just cut it out. Put it there. Like the other two fit perfectly.
As quick as it can be. Yeah,
Well,
fair
I
enough.
think Chucky's was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was
Sorry,
like, I
Chucky.
was in the pub and I just honestly didn't know who that was. I was like, very familiar, but it's not Stephen Elliott. Who is it? It's Chucky. Why? So it is. Somebody's trying to join, but haven't got.
Eric is waiting for the headset to charge.
Well,
is Neil out of his bath yet?
Neil, are you out of your bath? Come on. I sent. I pinged him a message earlier and said, "Can we tempt you to join the Fishwives?" And he said, "I'm just back from the gym and I'm in the bath." I'm like, "Thanks, Neil. That's what I need to do." That's what I need.
Yeah, if you can wait until you're done with the bath, at least that would be good. Yeah, drop the phone at the wrong moment and everyone, no, just no.
Suddenly he doesn't have any Patreons anymore.
Yes.
or maybe he's got a lot more. Can go either way.
Mm. Or just a changing of the guard at that point, I suppose it could be.
OnlyFans, yeah.
Oh dear.
So yeah.
So have you obviously said you were busy this week. Have you done anything retro, or has it been quite full on with work?
I've been dabbling with the 4060, which is what I'm just hitting my head off the wall. The new card came, the new version revision was supposed to fix all the problems, exactly the same problems as the last one. So
I thought you'd found a dodgy RAM on it.
I thought it was a dodgy RAM, and then I basically have 5 boards that are of exactly the same problem, and it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, that would start to drive you slowly up the wall, I would think.
I've been literally at this for a year, which is why I have other projects, right? So that I can go.
Yeah, you need to.
Right, with the TFMSX for a bit, and
no, a number of times you hit something on anything you're doing, and just going away and doing something else for a while and coming back. You're getting grief off the Norwegians in the chat again.
Yeah, and he won't even join. Uncle Albert. Yeah, so I mean that's all I've been doing retro-wise. Let me think. Oh, I've done something else, but I can't talk about it just yet.
Oh,
yeah, only seen it.
It's another 8-bit console, isn't it?
No, it's not even anything. It's not anything as cool as a new board or anything like that. It's just, yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, remember when he videoed you from the bath the other day? Oh no, wait.
I'm getting worried. Actually, I'm going, jeez.
I haven't shown it to Chucky yet. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I don't want to give the game away.
he's not saying anything, is he?
Sex machines.
Thank you.
Do you want to shout abuse at the
Aye,
shut the window? You shut
40
the
Big
window.
Macs. 40 Big Macs. 40.
40 Big Macs. It kind of reminds me when we first got an Amazon Alexa. I was on a video call with some of the guys for work, and they ordered some items, on the Alexa that I can't really say because I have a child in the car at the moment.
Or you can say I don't even.
No, trust me, you're all right.
They're just sort of shouting very loudly. I
Voice
take it.
rattled, was it?
I've heard swear.
She says she's heard the swear word.
I've heard more than one.
Right,
That's just your dad hanging around with the wrong folk. That.
I know. How many times do I need to tell you Biffa bin is not a swear word?
It's not that F word.
All right.
Oh, foxtrot.
Foxtrot, yep.
For flip's sakes.
Yeah.
Stephen, would the place downstairs be heated then?
In the end, yes.
Okay. On the floor, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the scary expensive bit.
And the trees have been removed.
The tree was removed, yeah. There was an actual tree trunk had come up underneath the footings of the house. It was growing across
Yeah.
underneath that old recording studio. And I had to dig out a trench to remove it. It was just about the right shape and size for a body, actually. Quite.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Anyway. Retrofix says that he's fixing an arcade machine. Which machine are you fixing?
Ooh, an arcade cab. I'm always interested in an arcade restore. I love it's much more fun watching someone else do it than.
Actually, have we shared the link, or is it private to join?
No, anyone can join if they want. Anyone can join. Oh, I didn't share it in the chat. Sorry.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Like it's always anyone can join. It's an open pub. Anyone can join. One day we'll get Kent on, and then the circle will be complete. He's a machine though. I don't know if anyone else has seen Kent's channel, but he just goes live and starts smoking fags for 9 hours at a time. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I'm talking about synths.
But I mean, like all of his days, just head down and fixing really old synthesizers, and then I don't know how he has the energy afterwards to even stream, because he streams a few times a week now at this stage, and they're like 6-7 hours easily.
Wow. Yeah, that would kill me.
Talking shite like this, yeah.
Not falling asleep.
Stephen, I think if you, I'm not sure, I can't remember how I did it last week or last time, but I was able to pin the link in Facebook, in YouTube. I think there's an option to pin it to the top.
How do I
That
do
way it
that?
doesn't. Don't know. Can't remember.
Oh, there you go.
No, not that. No, I think it's in YouTube.
Oh, in YouTube itself.
Yeah, and then you can pin the.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Stick.
How do I unshow that? There we go.
Back to big.
Because you can't do that, lads. You can't be doing it. Because you can't do that.
Sorry.
Have you watched any of the Hardy Bucks at all, Stephen?
No, I haven't had a chat.
No.
I want to. I want to get in there and
Yeah.
sure, but I've got a busy fortnight ahead. My mum and dad are turning up on. So my mum and dad are turning up on Tuesday. It's my boy's birthday this week, and then we're going to France the week after that. So
Get to France. Wow.
Get to France, yeah.
What part are you going to?
Brittany. And it could be messy because I'm going drinking with this character.
That guy above me. Oh no.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah, we'll be there. We're
Plus,
going
he
there
will
on
no doubt
the 9th.
pretend not to speak French at the point where the police turn up.
They're so scared of anybody thinking they're English. Tell them what you bought.
Oh yeah, I've got Ecos for the car.
Yep.
A couple of See You Jimmys. I'll put the kilt on.
To be honest, it's not that far from the truth. I mean, I remember talking to it was my aunt's mum and dad. I don't know what relation that makes them to me, but he got a Happy Meal. Yes. My aunt's mum and dad were touring France with their caravan. They turned up at a campsite kind of on spec, and the guy basically said, "Look, there's no room. You're not getting in here. I'm sorry. You need to go away." Like, oh, that's a real shame. There's no room in the car. All right, okay, well, we'll see if we can find something else. We're really kind of counting on getting in here. And he kind of went, your accent, where are you from? They went, oh, we're from Scotland. They went, you're not English. They were like, no. Like, oh, okay. Opened the gate, got them in, tons of spaces, gave them a beautiful sight down by a river.
Swimming pool.
They stayed for about 3 days. They said it was absolutely stunning, but it was really quiet. But basically, if any English people turned up at the gate, the guy was like, be gone. There is no room for you here. So, yeah, it's frighteningly true, unfortunately. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, even my wife's friends from Paris, they're the same. She was like, English, Scottish, you are the same. And then when she met a Scottish guy, she was like, no, it's all different, you know. It was all different. So,
yeah.
I've got the See You Jimmy, the kilt, and high vis vest. I'll wear it, Jeremy Clarkson style. Because apparently you have to have in France, you have to have high vis vests in the car at hand. And if you don't, and that's one thing the French police love getting British tourists.
Yeah, you need one of those kind of triangle signs.
Yeah,
in case you break down, and a high vis vest, and
you have to be able to get your hand on the triangle sign immediately.
Yeah, and alcohol test thing as well.
An alcohol test.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have to carry your own breathalyzer now?
Breathalyzer, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Like a just disposable kit, but you'll find them on boats. Like most boats will have them because they know.
Yeah, you'll need them at the far end.
So we decided we'd take my shitty car.
Oh, you're taking Numpty?
I'm taking Numpty. To a couple of reasons, actually. I mean, Fiona's car it's a nice car, so but it's also an expensive car to do 1,000 miles in. It's about twice the cost per mile to do a mile in compared to mine. So do that.
Yep.
And, so that's why I went and dug into adding the cruise control. And
right, yes, for the drive.
It's something that's nagged me for a while, but the car had it in the computer. It was just missing the switch and the had to be enabled in the computer, and then you had to wire in the switch. So that's all you had to do. And
so it's all there, just not
wasn't wired up.
Yeah, they tend to build it all in these days, and then they just tick the various boxes in the onboard computer.
It was missing 2 wires from from where the steering wheel stalk comes out. There's a connector. They call it the clock spring.
Clock,
so there's
the clock. Yeah,
there's it's where connections go from where they don't have to follow the wheel. It's like they must be on a ring or something.
It's a big spring-loaded reel of flat.
Yeah. So there was 2 wires missing from that to the instrument cluster, and it was like 2 wires that long with 0.1 headers. So wired them 2 in. I was telling you, Graham, though, the biggest issue I had was I was under the impression that it would engage at 20 miles an hour. No, it's 40. And so I was driving around the block trying to get this working for ages, and it didn't work. And then the next thing was just thought, well, I'll go on a run up to Darnley, up to Newlands, and hey, Eric. And then the next thing was the car just kicked in, and it was like, whoa, it's away. So
Nice. No, I'm just glad it worked for you.
How do you engage or select it then?
So there's I bought off eBay like a new there's like a little V with the thing that fits onto the steering wheel, and one it has the control for the media, which is there on the car already, and there was a blank panel. So I just bought the other part from eBay for I think it was 40 quid,
Okay.
and I installed it. I had to take the steering wheel off and the airbag, which was the squeaky bum, but
Bang.
but I'm glad I did, because I found that the airbag connector was broken.
Oh. Well, that's
So
never good.
I fixed that, put it all back together, checked it, and it wasn't working for a bit. And then the next thing was, I don't know, must have had a bad connection or something, but then it's been working ever since. The only problem is it encourages me to get to the speed to check that it's working.
One of those people who drives everywhere at 40 miles an hour now.
No, but I'll get up to that just to check it's working, and then I'll go, oh, it's still working.
Shouting my car is safe.
Yeah. Anyway, so but I think there's a couple of times where I've gone down to pick up monitors and bits and pieces for cabs and stuff, and my foot has been numb after 4 hours of driving, and it's just being able to turn that on was.
Yes, it's one of those things as well. It's like a quality of life thing where the first car you ever have that has it and you use it and get used to it, when you lose it going to something else, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And yet it's another one of these things where when you first heard about it, you're like, I'll never need that. That's just pointless.
Yeah, but as you get older, your foot gets more and more numb.
It just there's all sorts of things that appear on cars that I always thought were just frivolity, and then you get a car that has them, and you're like, oh, God, that's brilliant. I don't want to lose that now. The case in point, that Land Rover I've got now has a heated steering wheel. Like, a heated steering wheel. Why would you need a heated steering wheel? What's wrong with these people that need heated steering wheels? And then the first time you go out to the car at like -10, and you realise that you can heat your steering wheel, it's like, oh, I get it now. Even down to like working outside the car, your hands go numb. You go in and just hold the steering wheel for a bit, and your fingers defrost. It's stupid. It's something that I never thought I would ever really care about, and yet I really miss it if it goes now, which is just daft.
I've had the heated front window on Numpty for.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
I can't live without that now.
It's so good. It is
Because
so good.
Before you would just drive off and not be able to see.
Yes, through the wee bit that's demisted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out the window there, keep going. Can't see a bloody thing. Now the heated window just disappears.
Yeah. Especially when it's icy. I mean, you get in, start it, press that button, and within 5 minutes your window's clear. Whereas otherwise you're out there with a scraper trying to.
We probably still have to scrape, but it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier.
That's good.
Yeah.
But again,
my
it's
van-
things
my
that-
van has none of that. So yeah, the window thing is. I mean, the amount of mornings like you're like, I used to go like start driving thinking it'll fix itself after like 100 meters. You know, I'll be able to see again. Like, you get to the crossroads, you can see a fucking thing.
And where you are, there's lots of people on the side of the road and stuff like that. Yeah.
I remember my wife's car broke, and I bought her a stopgap. It was a fairly knackered Rover 45 that had a sunroof leak, which was fine because I got it towards the end of the summer and I wasn't really that bothered. And then winter hit, but the problem was so much damp had got inside that if it did frost up, the inside of the screen would frost up as well. So to go anywhere in the morning, you had to scrape the inside of your windscreen first and then go and scrape the outside as well. She was livid. That did not last long, that car. It fairly encouraged her to save up some money and buy a new car though, so that was good. But yeah, not what you want. A watery windscreen's not a good thing.
Yeah, we're taking Fiona's car this time to France, and it's one of those like all the options and heated everything.
If we're driving around, if we're driving around, we can take Numpty because it owes me nothing, and if we have a massive accident, I don't care. Well, I do, but only about the people inside it, not the car. It's just that, you know, I've explained it to Graham a few times, but it's a car where the government don't charge me any tax for it because it was in this kind of a deal at the time where they thought diesels were really super efficient. So I'm on a deal where I've got no government tax on it. It's 70 miles to the gallon out of it, and it's been paid for over 10 years. So it doesn't give me anything.
No, it's hard to argue that. It really is.
And I don't really drive that much. You know, the most driving I do is going to pick up stuff for cabs, or this year going to see Neil into Neil's.
It's like my van, like the amount of money I saved having that van to transport stuff and instead of getting deliveries, like I can go pick stuff up, you know, if I'm building something, or cabs or like anything large. It's just been, I've probably paid back. At first it was cheap when I got a fairly good deal, and yeah, I've probably paid back in just delivery cost alone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the only thing with it is they've just introduced the low emission zone here, and if it extends out in Glasgow, if it extends out past this place, I won't be able to keep the car, which should be annoying. But there should be.
It doesn't, if I remember right, it doesn't cover the M8, does it? Is that
No.
right?
No, I
So
can
you
go through the city centre, but I can't come
You
off.
just can't turn off. Yeah, that's right.
But to be honest, see, parking in town is extortionately expensive.
I don't think I would. No, I mean, I'd be getting the bus or something if I was doing that anyway. So
And I can cycle it in 12 minutes. And there's a cycle park inside work. So
yeah,
the only days I'm really motivated not to cycle is when it's absolutely pissing with rain. I mean, properly. Heaven's open.
yeah. But again, the funny thing is, days like that, if you actually do get on the bike and do it, you're kind of all right once you're going. It's just facing it, that initial step of getting on the bike and actually going. I mean, I've not done it. I'm talking about this like I do it all the time. It's been about 5 years since I cycled to work, but the office that I was cycling to, it was great. I was doing it every morning. It was brilliant. They had a shower there as well, so you could get in, park the bike, go have a shower, and then go to your desk. And not smell terrible for the whole day because you've cycled to work.
See, to be honest, I'm not even that far that it's that I need it. I'm only it's all downhill, so I'm really just gently cycling downhill to work.
That sounds nicer than what I had, because I was.
And then it's a brutal cycle back.
Yeah, that's the problem. If you're downhill all the way there, yep.
And you've seen the hills around here.
Yes.
They're it's a bit of swearing before I get home. Put it that way. Yeah, do that 3 days a week. Work from home 2 days a week now.
That's not bad, man. That's a good wee regimen for sure.
I'm happy enough with that. Plus, it kind of gets my exercise in without thinking about it.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's 45 minutes for me. Cycle uphill in the morning. I still do it sometimes, but my motivation drops very quickly if the weather is terrible. Just
if you look at the window
fine.
And the wind,
raining, you don't,
Yeah.
and it because you're right, sort of more the east of Edinburgh, aren't you? No.
Yeah, I'm actually closer to Musselburgh than Edinburgh.
Oh wow.
And I've got 11 kilometers cycle uphill. That's 45 minutes. I can't do it faster.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. As I say, I think I was the back of Dunfermline to Rosyth, so it looks like it's downhill, but it's actually very not. But the first part was great because it was genuinely a really steep downhill. So the first bit down through the big park in Dunfermline called Pittencrieff Park was brilliant. That was just great. And then after that, you were kind of just rolling up and down constantly all the way to Rosyth. But on the way back, you would get so far back, and then your last slog was literally up through the park and up the hill again. And it was that was my sweary part, but.
I need
Yes.
an electric bike.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where was I? I was working away somewhere recently. Where were we? We were away up past Fort William and working on a site, and two old women barreled past us on electric bikes up a hill like that. Just no effort, just disappeared away up the hill. And I was like, yeah, I think that's cheating, but it'd be nice. You know what I mean? Just not to have to. But trying to think if there's anything I've done this week at all that's been retro, but it's been pretty full on with work, to be honest. Sorry, just to bring it back on topic, but I've gotten out, I'm afraid. Nah, sorry.
I think the only thing retro I've done since the last time we've had one of those is I broke the TF 1260 somehow.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a rare version. Well, 3 of those are on the skull, in fact. But you've got a Blinking Lights TF 1260, Eric, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he broke his
I-
Blinking Lights one.
How?
I have no idea. See, I've been building that the Re Amiga thing, so I've had to reopen, reclose, reopen. I'm wondering if I've I don't know, done something, but it just it won't. Neither of my Amigas now will boot with the 1260 in. They work fine otherwise.
Have you looked in the edge connector to see if there's any bent pins?
Yeah. Couldn't...
Sorry, I'm preaching to the choir here.
Just shoddy construction.
It's probably the design, really, when you come down to it. Just get kicked out of the stream. What happened there? I don't know. Graham's gone.
Yeah, it's a weird one. And it was over. It
It's
was after
bug
the last
design.
time. It was the next day after the last time. It had been running most of the evening. I was just running a demo or a game on it
Oh, it's weird.
in the background, and the next day it wouldn't start.
It's
Ah,
all right. I'll give you.
Anyway,
I'll swap you that one for mine, and I'll fix yours.
look, the other one works. You know, the Amiga works anyway.
Yeah.
I can run it off the GoTech for now. It's weird.
Oh,
Yeah,
you see that's got-
you see the comments for the cheap seats again? Yeah.
It would be proper.
Such a fair point, actually. It might be your power supply, Ollie, if you thought about that.
No, yeah, the power supply's fine.
but that's it's a stock. It's a trolling thing, that one.
Okay.
Yes.
Jens always says it's your power supply if something fails, or he has a habit of saying that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has
He
strong
has
opinions on
always-
power supplies. Right, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go and open a bottle of whiskey.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah. So I don't know. I think this last week I've been mostly looking at the. To be honest, I've been mostly reading the comments on Neil's video and trying not to respond to any of the troll bait.
Wise move.
The
I saw somebody was very insistent on the Amiga 600. Are you doing the card for the Amiga 600?
yeah, it was like, well, let me get this straight. You have your original first Amiga was a 600, and you don't want to do a 600. No, I don't, because it's a bike to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
How to
I
fit
know
it?
when I'm setting
There's no
myself up.
space.
Oh, what are you saying, Eric?
It's just packed. There's not really much space inside to play with.
That and what would I do? Would I put I'd put a 536. I'd make a 636, right? And
Yeah.
people would go like crazy about it. So
There are other good designs for 600. So
yeah, it's perfectly fine, and you can't. Yeah, that's perfectly fine, and I'm happy. I mean, at this stage, I don't. If I don't ever do it, I mean, I'll keep trying to do stuff. But if I don't ever do another card, I won't worry about it. You know, I don't feel like I let myself down now. The TFMSX, I think, there was a lot more interest in that than I was expecting.
Of course, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
especially with a JAMA adapter. It was like, whoa.
Well, that's novelty factor too. But I
Yeah.
think the TFMSX alone, I think you'll get a lot of interest from it. You just need to find somebody who will build it.
Yeah, if only there was somebody who would build them.
I don't know.
The TF666. Oh, no.
Yes.
666. See,
To be honest, if I ever did a 600 card, that's what it would be called, right?
666. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it's possible that I would do one, but right now, no. And I've never got drunk enough to actually start thinking about one. And you guys know how randomly something can appear. Like Stephen's been quiet for a few days. Oh, here's a new design. Yeah.
Here's a map card.
There's worse things to happen. Some people randomly disappear for a while and terrible things happen. At least terrible fire things happen. I don't know.
Yeah. So,
But the comments were like vastly positive anyway on the.
yeah, I was very. I think I'm a bit overwhelmed. I'm almost like not looking at it because I'm thinking, right, well, people aren't usually like this. If only they'd been like this a couple of years ago, I would have. I've rage quit from YouTube, but yeah.
Well, to be fair, there's quite a few special flowers out there that are hard to avoid at times.
Yeah, it's what you were saying the other day about the people who were selling stuff on. I'm not going to mention the forum, but you know the forum I'm talking about, Eric, where somebody was selling something for £10 over cost and shipping, and people were threatening to report them to the tax man.
Yeah, I was like, I did hear the story that he was basically people who sell this on more commercial basis didn't like the competition, and they were sending him quite nasty emails and this kind of stuff just to shut him down, because he was just doing maybe 10, 15, 20 cards, and he really charged maybe 10, 15 quid above the part cost. So yeah, that was like one of the stories which was like, come on.
Yeah.
It's funny, people don't factor in time and effort or anything in this. It's just the bare cost is that, therefore it should cost that. No.
Well,
I mean, you could even argue that was down to the materials used, the solder or whatever he'd used to make. You know what I mean? It's yeah.
It's basically
I'm over a grand
he
down
did
on
provide
the
support, and those £10 didn't cover his time in support at all. I think he was just doing this to be nice
that's slave
and
labor.
just allow people to have those cards.
Yeah.
Then get an abuse for it. Brilliant.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's there's always a little bit of abuse in that particular form, but it's
But I
this
have
one
my,
was one of those which was like fuck off.
I have my Polish ambassador for this kind of things. It's been a bit better since then.
Someone's
Yeah,
pointing out that if you did a TF640, it would live up to the name. An 040 and an Amiga 600. Yeah, that would be a warm card.
Yes. I don't really have any interest in the 040 because electrically it's exactly the same as the 060, apart from the fact that it's slower and hotter.
Yeah, at the moment it's cheaper though, so that's probably the factor.
That's temporarily.
Yeah, until you announce a card that uses one, and then everything.
Until I actually get one working, yeah, then it'll
Yeah, madness again. Was it Johnny that picked one up really cheap recently? He's just sitting on it just in case something happens. Was it Johnny?
Probably. Look, it's
Sounds
happened to the. I mean, the VDPs weren't dead. Well, the VDPs have got mental, haven't they?
I've got one. I bought mine for like 15 quid a year ago, and now it's like 50, 45,
Wow.
58.
Yeah.
And you probably get a fake 1 in 4
And
times.
you can get fake like this one.
Yeah. I think I got a bunch of them for like they were 30 each. at the time, but yeah, now you won't find one under 50.
Yes.
30.
Sorry.
The 38 one is fine. I think it's like 99%
I
of
think
use
so.
cases really,
I agree.
and I think
Yeah.
just that's the reality of what's
I've
happening.
been saying that since you guys started finding fakes. Like the MSX2 is just fine, like as it is. The VDP, the 2 Plus will add a smoother scrolling register, and that's that.
So the videos I was showing of me playing Space Manbo and the Jammer in the cab, they were on a 3.8.
Yeah, there you go.
If you just overscan, if you stretch the screen out a little bit, you don't see it. It's just the jerkiness on the side of the screen. That's all.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, Space Manbo has a smooth scrolling even on the MSX2 VDP. Yeah,
and that's the really big game to play. And Vampire Killer. Oh, come on. I just love that. I just love Vampire Killer.
There's a wee bit of comedy in there as well, isn't there?
Meanings. It's brilliant. But
Oh,
not
I was
only,
going-
not only that, because Ollie's done about 50 covers of Vampire Killer before he even knew me, right? so it all comes
Is the
together.
mapper card working?
yeah. The mapper
That's
card.
good.
The mapper, yeah.
Hmm.
We need to think about doing SEC.
Yeah, I know. I
know,
can't
it's-
get my head around it. It's just I need to sit down and just think, and that's painful actually with CSS. It's a little bit more energy requires, and I
Yeah.
know how much energy it requires. It's so difficult to start.
Yeah.
We'll,
I think
we'll have to talk about those mapper cards. Actually, Stephen, when you're over in France, maybe it'll be easier than this one.
right. I just send you the Gerbers, and that's fine.
Well, yeah,
As long as you put the right voltage regulator on, you're fine.
yeah. The power supply issue again. Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen these cards. I mean, it's about as simple as it's possible to get. So, but yeah, I'm just really happy that we managed to put together a mapper card. You think it's under a tenner, roughly about a tenner for the?
Yeah, if you do it, like you don't need stuff like the LED really, so you can remove the resistor as well for it, and you can let people. I suppose you can put the resistors for the jumpers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes to a tenner to make.
Yeah.
Just in parts.
Roughly, yeah.
So it's not going to be a cheap card necessarily, but yeah.
But given how difficult it is to get everything else,
Yeah, no. I'm like if we can, like I'm thinking about under 20, like to sell it,
yeah.
and then yeah, something like that.
I'm really happy. We can look at cost reducing it even further, but I was just looking at getting a baseline to start from.
Yeah, I priced it like that for like a batch of 10. Obviously, if I order more parts, like in batches of 50 or something like that, it'll be a lot
Come
cheaper.
down.
But like we're not gonna go much cheaper than 10.9. Like it's gonna be around.
But even the shittiest game possible out there is 50 quid, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you won't find a card for under 50.
And if I don't know, I was thinking there might be a case for selling it with a case, a 3D printed case, and then just let them print their own labels or something.
Yeah. Problem with cases is it takes a lot of time to print them. Like they're a few hours each. If I print them myself, if I get them
injection-
made,
But you've got PCBWay now,
yeah, but it's still very expensive.
and Ollie is sponsored by PCBWay.
and Simon.
I think everyone is, aren't they? That seems to be.
Yeah, they're pretty much sponsoring everybody at the moment.
Yeah, but nobody uses PCB waste though. So everybody uses JLC.
To sponsor no one.
They don't sponsor anyone because everybody uses them.
Yeah. Don't need to get your name out when everybody knows who you are already, I suppose.
Isn't Jan Betas still sponsored by JLC?
Thought it was
No,
Manscaped.
really?
Skip.
PCB weighted a whoops on your pink PCBs. Oh, yes. Oh, come on, Chucky. You got to come on and talk about your pink
Sounds like a
PCBs.
dirty joke.
Do
Jeez.
you want to see my pink PCB? No, Chucky, please, just no.
my pink whoops. Yeah.
So I've just checked. At the moment, you can buy a full. Sorry, back to the previous chat, but full 68040, 33 megahertz mask, 40 megahertz tested for 25 quid. So that's what you need to deal with, Stephen. 25 quid. Can you push that up? What can you do to make that worth more?
Shit. I feel like
It's like a challenge.
Your man from The Witcher. Fuck.
By the way, how much is of 50 megahertz, like proper, genuine one?
A gold
If
top.
you can even get it, yeah. Because I need one, and it's.
I have one
I
you
don't
can
know where
have.
to get them from.
You can have one. I've got one you can have. You can just have it.
Because
I'll give
it's
it
like.
to you. When you come over in October, you can have it.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna miss that.
Oh, come on. Well, anyway, come over and I'll post it to you then. Mark Brown just sent me them. I've got a pile of them.
Is that super duper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I messaged him earlier. He replied to a thread on EAB where someone was asking for help, a useful suggestion, and got shot down by about 3 people who, at least one of them's an asshat. The person that started the thread's fairly special in the first place. So I actually just sent him a message about, I wouldn't reply to him and I wouldn't reply to him because they're both plebs. It's just not worth your mental headspace,
Is
mate.
that the PFS thread?
It is, yes. How did you guess? Yeah. There's another guy in
from the start.
There was another guy in there who replied, who'd been complaining about he'd formatted something in PFS and then he'd run a tool by a guy called Thomas Rapp to check it, and he got a reply from Thomas Rapp, who wrote the tool, and the reply from Tony Willen, who looks after PFS, giving him his answers, and got really angry at them both because he didn't feel like they'd answered his question properly. I was like, you've actually got the people who wrote the stuff replying to you, and you're getting angry about it. I'm sorry, that's just. It's entertaining. You just don't get involved anymore. Honestly, I start typing replies and think, actually, you know what? I'm just going to watch. It's much less. It's much
There was
less.
a few really bad things ones from EAB over the last couple of years, and just kind of happy to be way out of it. Your man, you know who? Do you remember?
There was him. There was an A2000 bloke as well. The super entitled lad who wanted everybody to sell him everything for the price they were in 2001.
Yeah, I actually understand what he's doing. So he's negging to try and get the price down.
Right.
And what he actually did, an interesting thing, he started pitting me and Chucky and Alan Marks and Super Duper against each other, trying to get the price down.
What a guy.
And we said, no, I just basically said, effectively in the end, said, it's a cartel. We fixed the price.
Also, it's a cartel. We've got hitmen. You watch your mouth.
And he kind of lost it at that point. And I was like,
Hey,
you're not getting anything. That's it.
Yeah, go away. I'm telling everyone about you. We'll sell you nothing, mate.
Yeah.
it's Biffy Man.
He's superhero alter ego.
There we go.
So you were called Beffaman there.
I don't know if it's like your superhero alter ego now, man. Sorry, it's just he rips his t-shirt open.
It's the fact that I got handed actual Biffa bins, 3D printed Biffa bins when I was at Neil's.
They're quite impressive prints, actually. Did he get the
Absolutely
white
are.
in with the
Yeah.
arts? Yeah, it's layered nicely.
it was a spot on job. I was like, I'm leaving them on the set. They can be on camera.
Mhm.
Properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sitting in my kitchen. Right now.
Should be sitting behind you where you're sitting there, so they're on stream all the time, surely.
Yeah, but I'm also sitting at this desk for work, so I don't really want to have to explain that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my streams are sponsored by Biffa. Or I'm hoping they will be.
It's not
They're big-
even so much my superiors or my colleagues, it's my little direct reports. I don't really want them digging into it.
Oh, well.
So how's things, Rob? What have you been doing that's retro this week? Because we've all done very little.
What have I been doing? I have been working on the key mapping thing for the Dark Forces port.
Oh yeah, so there was an
And,
update for
so
that.
there's a little update for that because some of the mappings changed internally. So now there's a strafe button. So that's the key change. That's mainly for people who are playing on controller. But yeah, that's it. And I'm working on my game or my tool jam thing, which is that's it. So I've fair bit of retro stuck in there.
Nice one.
Sorry,
Oh,
I
no,
missed it
but
all there. But sorry, go ahead.
No, I know what else I done retro actually was the I sent you the video of it, Stephen, the Raspberry Pi running the Naomi emulator
Oh yeah.
for that Sega
Yeah.
Cash Cube.
Yeah, I need to
And yeah, the Pi 4 can emulate like they don't all run perfect. You might need to overclock the Pi, which is fine. You just put a fan on it. But the like stuff like Sega Rally, Crazy Taxi worked fine on it. Monkey Ball, some fighting games. There was stuff like Virtua Tennis just was crawling, like it just didn't want to run properly.
Is it a Dreamcast emulator or what was it?
It's a Dreamcast emulator, and it's Flycast for the Naomi for the Raspberry Pi, and it does Naomi games as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see.
I wish someone would do a bare metal Sega Model 3 emulator on the Pi. I guess that's a niche. Oh, you've been left a beer.
I just saw it. Thank
If you wanna
Yeah, that's service.
Yeah,
good.
I'm available for marital advice if you need. But yeah, so it runs okay actually. So, and I'm using that thing that converts it to VGA. So it's pretty much plug and play. Oh, and I have another board. Where is it? It's here somewhere that actually converts the controls, because the controls it's JVC JAMA something, but it's not standard JAMA, so it plugs to something like that looks like it's a USB cable, but it's not a USB protocol, so it converts that into USB protocol, so you can actually just plug a Raspberry Pi, plug your controls into the that, and then into the USB.
Nice.
So yeah, I think the work on the Sega has stopped because the next step is to start putting it all back together, and I don't want to do that if I have to move it again because it's so fucking heavy. Yeah, so
That's understandable.
I mean, it must be way over 200 kgs once it's back together.
At least, yeah. I was gonna say 300 probably. Yeah.
She's a big girl.
There's rumours, Ollie, that you moved both of those cabs yourself. In
The
the
rumors
dark,
are true.
in the rain.
The
When she
rumors are
crowbarred the
true.
unit open and checked no alarms were going off.
My money, father. I just didn't want to fill in the forms.
385 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to dismantle them myself. Which, they're easy to take apart. It was more moving them across the buildings and crossing the road. It was raining as well, and it was after rush hour, so there was cars passing, and you're trying to kind of lift a 28 inches kind of monitor with the full chassis in there.
Those monitors are not light.
No.
Because when we put them in the van together, we were picking each of these items up a hand each. But when you put them in the van and when I took them out of the van, I was like, "Oh, these are heavy."
The heaviest was actually the bottom frame, because I couldn't open them because they didn't have the key, so I had to open. So all the board stacks were in there, and as you know, they're heavy, like the big.
That power supply board is unbelievably heavy.
Incredibly heavy, and the other one isn't light as well. Plus the full metal frame, that was the heaviest thing to actually lift in the van. Yeah,
it's not like a normal cab where you can kind of pivot it and you can have it balancing.
No, as I moved. Michael, that was with me when we came through, he bought one wrecked, purely because I think it was a Friday night. I'd found it on eBay and I went, "This is cool, isn't it?" and sent him a link to the cab, and he just bid on it because he'd been enjoying a few beers, I think, and won it with no thought of what he would do if he did, and then had to organise someone to ship it up, and then they refused to deliver it to his house because it's quite a narrow street to get to him, so they dropped it at the end, and we had to basically carry it most of the way up the hill to his house. Yeah, it was no fun at all. And then when we finally got it there, it had been partially gutted inside and was utterly wrecked. So, hi, Kat. Yes, thank you. That's great. So we, I think we kept the seat and the controls, and the screen was dead. It was in a really bad way. But yeah, it was very, very heavy, and that was even with the interior partially robbed. So, yeah, I don't envy that at all, Ollie. Moving two of them on my own would have been, yeah.
And the control panel, with this wheel, that's a lot heavier than you think it is, as well.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing light at all in that.
It's
disassembled.
It's designed for drunk people to give it abuse and not break.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The amount of fag burns on it, though. Jeez.
Yeah, of course.
So I managed to. Graham's had a nosy at see the top of that with all the fag burns. You don't know there's any. You wouldn't know there was any fag burns now. So.
Oh, really neat job actually. Yeah, just car filler, wasn't it? You said. Is that Isopon?
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of sanding and then Bondo and then sanding and then about 6 stages of sanding and then some painting.
That car I showed you earlier, Eric, my first car, the Metro, that's what it should have looked like. My one was about 80% Isopon car filler. So I mean, Stephen said they weren't safe in accidents. If I'd crashed that, it would have been me, the steering wheel, the seat, the chassis, and just a big cloud of dust where it all.
Well, those old Metros, you wouldn't live if you hit a cyclist.
It was probably safer actually after I replaced all the metal with filler.
Yeah.
Less likely to get cut in half, you know. So, but, yeah,
those went off the market immediately once NCAP came out.
Yeah,
it
became the Austin Metro, then the Rover Metro, then it became the Rover 100, and then they did an NCAP test on it, and then they just binned it. It was like, yeah, we're not coming back from that. That's it.
Can't be fixed.
Yeah. I was driving around in a Rover 100 for a very long time.
Was it the Cadbury's purple one?
It was the Nightmare or Nightfire red.
My mate I was at uni with, he had I don't know what the colour was, but it looked like it was the same colour as a Dairy Milk wrapper.
I remember that one.
And he loved that car. He kept that far longer than he should have.
I used to do the run from Glasgow to Ullapool. And we used to call it with my brother. So I'd be coming up to Christmas and I'd go and pick him up. He'd be living somewhere in Hampden and I was in the West End somewhere. And I'd go and pick him up and then we'd do what we'd call the cannonball run, which is try and get up the road. This is long before the speed cameras on the A9. In fact, probably the reason why they have them now.
Speed cameras, yeah, it's your fault.
Because we would leave Glasgow at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., somewhere between 3 and 4, and we'd do the ton all the way to Ullapool. This was
Jesus,
literally the
wringing the neck of that
fastest-
car.
It's as fast as the car would go, right? Up a hill, it would be
Yes.
less than a ton. Downhill, it'd be more than a ton, but it would be just flat all
Mhm.
the way.
Was that the wee 1 litre job, was it?
Yeah, I don't even know if it was a whole liter.
Like 998 or something.
998, something like that.
Because you got a 1.4 version of that, which had 105 horsepower.
This was
That- No,
In-
but I mean,
in-
I
In a
can only-
biscuit tin.
in a biscuit tin, basically. I mean, that doesn't sound a lot, but given the actual weight of the car, it was probably a lot of fun at the time. Until you crashed and died horribly.
No, because it was hydroelastic suspension.
Yes.
It was all over the place like this, so the car wouldn't go in a straight line.
Really?
Squeaky bum.
See, I got my uncle was a mechanic at the time, and he had a machine, but his machine for the hydroelastic was ancient, so it wasn't electric. So when I gave it to him, I mean, I bought the car. It was an old woman who had it before me, and it was actually sitting at an angle like that because one side had basically decided it had enough of life. So he replaced the cylinders, filled it up, but he had to manually crank it up. And he basically said, "Look, what I've done is I've looked at the pressures it's meant to take, and I've gone slightly over them." I'm like, "Right." He's like, "It's basically the equivalent to putting slightly stiffer suspension on your car." I'm like, "Okay." I mean, at that point, I had no clue, but it was a proper little go kart. I think mine's was the 1.3A series out the Mini, so I only had 4 forward gears. So anything above about 50 miles an hour, it was screaming its head off. But
I think I did
Yeah.
actually have a fifth on the Rover one.
the Rover 100, they gave you a 5th gear, and they swapped
Yeah.
it for I think it was the K series in that.
I
But
don't know.
the thing is, I look back on it with these rose tinted glasses and think how much fun I had in it. I think if you put me in one now, I'd be raging.
Mine cost me 200 quid. So
Oh, mine was 175, so I can't complain either. I remember going away to, I think I was must have been in 5th or 6th year of school, going away to school, and Mum and Dad were like, "Oh, you know your drive, you're almost, time for you to get your driving lessons. We're going to get you a wee car." I'm like, "All right, well, I wouldn't mind a Peugeot 205 or not." I sort of rattled off all the ones that were kind of semi-cool, and then came back from school 2 days later, and there's a metallic blue E-Reg Austin Metro with a Jobby Brown interior waiting for me. Oh, great.
It's a car. It's a car.
It was a car. It was. As I say, I've got many happy memories, but if you gave me one now, I probably wouldn't thank you for it, to be honest. But well.
No, but just the number of times you can't even. So now, what we used to do is we would drive up to Ullapool and we'd leave the car in Tesco or Sainsbury's or whatever Safeway's car park. They've banned that now because so many tourists do it.
Yeah.
Really annoying.
This foot passenger over.
Yeah, we would just get on the and the number of times I came back in January or whatever. Yeah, I came back to the car in January and the car wouldn't start. What the fuck are you gonna do?
I'll just phone the AA and then wait for 4 hours.
Oh, I mean, I didn't have AA membership. I would just, I think one time, the car started, but I had no headlights.
Oh.
So I remember one time, oh Jesus, this was sketchy as all hell. So I couldn't get the headlights to turn on. I think eventually later on I figured out that the fuse box had trace had gone inside the fuse box.
Wow.
So I'm in Ullapool at 6 p.m. What am I going to do? But if I pulled main beam, it worked.
Ah.
So I got out some electrical tape and I taped down the lights a wee bit. And I just jammed a fag packet between the stock.
Force the high beams on and just
Every
drive.
lorry between Glasgow and Ullapool flashed me like, ooh.
Oh, man.
Look at this arsehole with his high beams on. Can't drive, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that happened to a mate of mine as well. He bought a car second hand and the headlights died and he traced it to a burnt. I think it was wiring had melted. They worked out that the previous owner had put basically off-road illegal rally bulbs in the headlights because they were so crap. They were drawing like many, many more watts than anything was supposed to. Yeah, just utterly cooked his wiring for his headlights.
I just went to Scrappy and got a new fuse box and
Yeah.
put it in and it worked magically. So I was like, well, okay, I'm happy with that. But
Call that quits.
sketchy as all hell coming down the A9. I mean, literally, a pack of 10 fags, jammed it between the stock and the dash to keep the headlamps on. 4.5 hour drive.
Brilliant. I know.
My Leon at one point started just producing smoke from the indicator stock, which is it's not where you really expect anything to go wrong, or other than just
No, that's not ideal at all.
You turn on the indicators, get smoke out of it. You turn them off again, the smoke stops. And so I kind of like, geez, I don't really want this to catch fire. I love this car, so I had to order in a stock, and it wasn't the right one because it'd been retrofitted with cruise control and all that. So I had a toggle switch cell taped to the dashboard, wired into the hazard switch, because all the indicators were run from a little board behind the hazard switch. So the hazard switch came out of the dash, ran some wires out, toggle switch. I even put a little label on it, left and right, and I had that for about a week.
That was your indicators.
Yeah,
brilliant. That's great.
But I gave people a lift into work in the car, and they're like, "What the fuck is going on here?" I'm getting
That's
out.
it's actually very Citroen, that, Rob. If you look at the CX, the BX didn't have stocks because of the mad single stem steering wheel. So they actually had rocker switches up to the left that you would use. So I don't know. Maybe you were just,
Yeah,
I think
true.
I think my favourite mad car story is my friend Michael, the one that you met the other day, Stephen. He got a Porsche 924 off a friend, another guy we know called Stephen. Basically, he had a Porsche 924. He was trying to teach his girlfriend to drive, and Michael had a Mini. So they basically did a straight swap, Mini for Porsche. So Michael's out in the Porsche driving. He's got his friend John in the passenger seat. They pulled up, I think it was a McDonald's drive-through of all things, got through the drive-through, collected their food, parked in the car park, eat it at the far end, turned the engine off, at which point it locked all the doors and smoke started billowing out of the dashboard. And it wouldn't let them out. They were actually getting ready to smash windows to get out of the car when they finally managed to open the door and get out. It turned out that Stephen, who'd had it previously, needed a new battery, but the local shop to him only had one that was slightly taller than the battery that was meant for the car. So he'd put it in anyway and then put a bit of cardboard on top and shut the bonnet so it wouldn't short. And at some point between then and Michael driving through McDonald's, the cardboard had moved and the battery was basically just shorting on the inside of the bonnet. Yeah, that sounded terrific. I think it was a good 5 minutes of the car just filling with smoke as they were trying to smash windows to get out. German engineering there, with a Scottish lad for Dundee who's done his best to try and kill you with it.
Jesus, yeah,
Lovely.
Oh, man.
Wouldn't be me.
That'll put the shits up you, all right.
Yeah, that didn't sound great at all. Really didn't.
Car batteries, don't mess with them. They are really dangerous.
Oh, you can weld with them. They're mad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, an arc welder is basically a car battery. It's just something that converts mains into car batteries. It's like it might only be 12 volts, but it's like 600 amps.
Yeah, it's beefy stuff. I mean,
For
just
a very short period of time.
yes. You think the crank current on a starter motor for especially a diesel, Scary, very scary.
So Peter's saying
Chunky.
you've seen someone do the spanner thing. I've seen someone do the spanner thing, and the spanner goes across, and you end up with a big flash, and you end up with a wavy spanner.
Bits of spanner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. We were again working away somewhere recently, and there was a couple in a Volkswagen Passat. It wouldn't start. They basically said we don't know what's happened, so we didn't really want to, but we kind of helped them. It worked out the earth strap on their starter motor had snapped. So I got an old screwdriver out the toolkit of our car, went over, and basically went, you need to hold that on there where the earth strap had been. So will it not get hot? I went, very briefly, but just hold it. They did, they held it. We managed to get the thing started. He's like, what happens if it goes again? I went, I'll tell you what, you can have this screwdriver. You'll need it if you ever turn the car off again before you get to where you're going. But even that, the heat in that screwdriver, when, once it had finally cranked, and that was without, the full noise on it. But yeah. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. We did when I was working on that Sega Rally. I did a bunch of electrolysis to get some of the rust off, And you look online and on YouTube, and it's like, they just use a car battery. I'm like, fuck
No.
that.
No.
I use a car battery charger. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. That'll be fine. That'll do the job just grand.
Yep.
A little wave or somebody nudges it and flash.
Yeah, let's put my car battery leads into a pot of water for 12 hours.
See what happens.
Yeah.
It didn't come out. The results are spectacular of that, but yeah,
Very impressive, yeah.
To get the rust off, it works really well.
no sacrificial animals left. All these wee brackets I had lying around in the garage, they're all dead. They're all covered in mud.
Used.
Yeah.
Someone got a pen.
That noise?
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
that's
all
my
these
keyboard.
All right. I thought it was someone clicking a pen.
Yeah. Clicky, clicky keyboard.
Oh, so yeah, I've seen people using microwave transformers. You saw big Kev doing the microwave transformers and doing art with the microwave transformers. Have you seen that? It's really stupid. What they do is they take the mains, connect it to a microwave transformer. How come Molly doesn't get it in automatically? Take mains, put it onto a microwave transformer, and then they basically have 6,000 volts on the end of a 2,000. And there's no RCD protection or anything. People properly cook themselves doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. No. No.
Yeah, it's Lichtenberg wood edging. Yeah.
It's the one where it burns down the tracks, isn't it? You can see all.
Yeah.
It's very
I
cool,
mean,
but no.
You do that, but you wear the big gloves they wear for HT.
For sure.
But you can properly, that's not even just a death by electrocution. That you'll end up as a smoking piece of meat, basically.
Yes. Crispy.
Stupidity. But there's a big Kev, Big Clive video about it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I've done stupid things with microwaves before, but it's not involved playing with high voltage stuff. We did
Usually
once find
cats.
an old packet of fireworks, which we soaked in petrol and then put in a microwave, and then ran a very, very long extension to a generator, and then just turned it on and ran away. That was quite spectacular. There was also an old Dyson kicking about, so we stuck the tube from that in the remains of the petrol and let it soak it in. And all it did was spin it round and round and round in the dust catch area for ages. So we knocked it over sideways, at which point it finally caught fire and made a noise like a jet engine for a good 30 minutes.
It basically was a jet engine for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, sorry, 30 seconds, not 30 minutes. It didn't last that long. But it was the wee pop at the end. It kind of just got a higher and higher pitch, and then there was just a pop. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. But we were doing this off a generator, and we were in the middle of nowhere, to be clear. We weren't doing this in like someone's house or back garden or anything. It was proper middle of nowhere stuff. Don't do this at home.
Yeah, definitely don't do this at home. I remember my best man. I saw a Veritasium video on fireworks recently. It was quite a good one, and talking about these different mortars and shells and how they all work. And remember, my best man told me years ago he's got a display fireworks license, and he's sitting. He's been buying these 16-inch mortars. They're 16 inch, right? And you launch, the way you set the display up is you put them in a tube that's 12 foot long. It's like a big long toilet roll thing, right? And you put this 12-foot tube, and you dig it 6 feet into the ground. You put the wire in and the mortar in, and it's all set up. And you hit, you got a button. Well, he said when he went to do the 16, and he was doing his display, it was going well. Bang, 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 bang. He went to hit the 16-inch, and he just remembers nothing after that. He woke up, the ringing in his ears. What had happened was the 16-inch mortar had come up halfway up the tube, got stuck, and went boom. And it's like These guys are not. They usually are a direct line of sight to the tubes, so they can see when something's going wrong.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right. So he's in a field in Stirling, or near Stirling, and he hits this button, and he goes, shoo, gets stuck, and boom, blows the side of the tube out. But these 16-inch have got secondary incendiaries, right? So they've blown the tube up, and then they're going whoo, whoo, and setting fire to all the nearby fields, right, at ground level. This is literally the origins of the word terrible fire. Right?
Oh man, it sounds like he's got form. To be honest, but it sounds like. Did you see that? There was the big thing. It was a couple of years back, but there was one of the displays where it went wrong, and basically instead of doing the display in stages, it literally just ignited everything all at once.
Everything, yeah.
It was brilliant. It was an amazing display. I loved it.
It
Must have been
lasted about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it would have been utterly terrifying to be on the ground at that, though.
Yeah. I think I sent that to my best man. Was
Do
that
you
you? Because there's not many people who do display fireworks in the UK. There's like 5 people that do display fireworks.
It's kind of frowned upon now, isn't it? It's weird.
It's not so much that. It's there's quite a high bar to get a license now if you didn't have it at a certain point, I think, and nobody's willing to take it. They don't undercut each other because there's no point. You know, the price is roughly the same on all of them. So,
That thing didn't really work, did it?
Oh wow, that's chopped that good, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know how much of that is even necessary, but I did find the picture.
is that the one up at Oban? No, that's not what I meant to do.
Let's make this simpler.
Why don't you present while I go and get another beer?
Fair enough. Now, how do I work this one? Oh yeah, excellent stuff.
Is it that you're after? I've just chucked it in the comments.
Nope, I'll show you now. Screen sharing is it? Oh, what the fuck?
Hit present, I think it is at the bottom in the studio.
Okay, there we go. I think.
There you go.
Oh, is that your indicator stock?
Gee.
I thought you were just going for a fireworks display, but that's much more interesting.
That's it. Yeah, I knew I had a photo of it somewhere. There you go. Sellotaping everything into the ashtray or whatever, cup holder.
Nice.
Yeah, proud moment.
That's not Heath at all, Rob. That's brilliant.
Why did you need the actual paper sign saying left and right?
I probably didn't. It was more to. We were doing this sort of like carpooling thing in work, and it's probably more to scare the shit out of people.
It's connected to the indicators and the steering wheel. So if you turn that, I'm just going to get someone out my door. Can you steer for a bit?
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, I missed that car. Anyways, so I missed the start of this. What did I miss? Anything exciting or interesting?
Not really, no.
Absolutely.
We're all
not.
knackered for various reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long week.
Apparently, Neil was taking a bath. And
Oh, that's right. Yes, Neil's taking a bath, so he's not joining us.
yeah.
It's just one step up from getting my hair done.
It is, isn't it?
Man.
Sorry, guys. Taking a bath that night.
You've been to the gym, apparently. You've been all manly and sweaty. It's all homoerotic with Neil.
Like what? Oh, good. Someone's used my email address for an order from Temu. You know, that weird Chinese market site thing.
Oh, yeah.
They've ordered a set of men's trendy green sandals.
What?
What? Well, I've got his address as well. It's another Graham Thompson who's clearly given the wrong email address. Brilliant.
This is the ongoing Graham Thompson at gmail.com.
Oh, honestly, I thought I'd done
yeah.
so well getting my name at gmail.com, and now
They're just
yeah.
trying to pull you out of it.
I've so far, what have I got? I get updates on my children at school in Australia, which is quite interesting. I didn't know I had any. I've been invited to university faculty lunches in Canada. There's someone in Glasgow called Graham Thompson. He keeps ordering things off bike shops, and I keep going in and cancelling his order and changing the password on his account so he can't get in anymore. That's happened about 4 times. And now there's a Graham Thompson in London who's ordering things off Chinese app sites, and I'm getting all the updates. So brilliant.
I set up a website for my wife years and years and years ago, and sarahpower.com, right? And it turns out there's a semi-famous actress in the US called Sarah Power who went looking for it, couldn't get it, and then set up sarahpower.net. And now Sarah keeps getting this weird fan mail from Japanese people and declaring their undying love for her.
I don't know who you are. Brilliant.
Your wife's famous in her own right. So
It's definitely not in the kind of American Pie spin-off kind of famous. Because the other Sarah
no,
Power
but I could
is,
probably see. I could see sort of her work being appreciated by a very niche Japanese audience.
yeah, no, fair enough. But this wasn't this kind of fan mail. That was most definitely meant for the other one. But there's some noise there.
Someone got a steam train.
That's not me, is it?
I think it's me. No, it's still there.
Yeah,
Don't
somebody's
worry.
watching microwave videos.
Yeah. See, I've never had anything good. There's someone saying they got Disney Plus free for a month because someone signed up with their email address. I never get anything nice like that. It's always rubbish. I don't want a pair of flip-flops or whatever that lad's ordered. They can keep them.
Box of dildos from which?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Come on, Chucky, join in.
Yeah, get some headphones on.
He's
You can mime.
too busy coding.
Too busy coding Swedish us.
Mm.
Jeez.
Yeah, code harder, Chucky.
I'm sure there has to be a corner of YouTube that is microwave videos, Chucky.
There's a niche for
Just-
everyone.
No, if
just
you've
stuff-
thought of it,
just
someone's
stuff-
made a video of it.
Yeah, just stuff boiling and turning in the microwave.
If
It's gotta
16
be a
people
niche
are
one.
watching us lot live, then
Yeah.
there's a corner for microwaves.
Yeah. There's a corner for microwaves.
Eamon, I can't remember what his name is. His screen name, Vector Funk.
Yeah.
And he did a stream on Twitch once that was like retro-briding a set of keys for his Amiga. So he put them in a tank and left the camera on it for 8 hours. That was it. Nothing.
Fuck.
People were watching.
That's
I once
I was
left
watching
somebody, I once left Edwin on the stream for 8 hours.
Yes, yeah, similar story.
But I was being a dick.
Yeah, he's forgiven you for that, though, hasn't he? Or has he?
I think we're yeah.
I don't think he'd buy you a pint,
But
but
he won't be back on here anytime soon.
Well, if
It's
you fall
surprising
asleep-
that he was able to sleep all the time on the chair, though.
especially that angle with his neck, it looked really
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
To be fair, when I've been hammered, I have fallen asleep at the keyboard before.
Oh yes,
Over
really?
over lockdown, when all the work parties were like on Zoom or on Teams or whatever, and you get absolutely flutered and just fall asleep and wake up with like key imprint on my face. But I get a solid 6 hours sleep and wake up in the horrors.
And 500 emails sent to his
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dear.
Yeah, well, to be fair now, you have fallen asleep a few worse places than the keyboard, so you've got a reputation.
Legend has
Yeah.
it. Legend has
Legend has it. There's no proof or evidence, but it is scientific fact.
I didn't fall asleep. I was looking for taxis.
Taxis in the bin.
The fun bit is that Neil's got biffas all over the cave now.
Fuck, like.
I've got biffas. Somebody handed me a biffa. I have it in my kitchen.
It's literally because Stephen Elliott made an offhand joke once in a chat. There's no, I mean, yeah, I can vouch that when we were in Nottingham, the only person who was in any danger of ending up in the biffa bin was probably Johnny. Everyone else was fairly safe.
Let's be honest, Johnny is the highest biffa risk.
He really is. He was
It is very
determined he was going to run home. He really was determined he was running back to
We
the
did have
hotel.
to stop him from running back. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
I'm going
gonna
to
running through Nottingham at night.
when we have a party here, I'm going to padlock the front gate so he can't get out.
You might need to tie something heavy to his ankle, to be honest. I think that may be the way forward.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? It's safe enough around that area at night. Just put a tracker on him and we can
You can watch him on a map.
we can fish him out or something afterwards. Yeah.
Actually, see, between now and then, we should build a motion
Only if you
tracker
give
like the
me an
ones in Aliens.
isometric- Only if you give me an isometric map of Glasgow, right? So we can watch him Ouija night style.
Mhm. You know, the migration of the birds kind of videos. You see they've flown to here and to here.
He is Father Jack.
Yeah.
He's in the vents.
How long has Father Jack been living in the box?
Oh yeah.
Amazing. He's not even here to defend himself, is he?
Mm.
Oh, and I haven't had Johnny on. In fact, have we ever had Johnny on the Fishwives?
Where is he? What's he
I
doing?
feel like he has been, but I don't
I
know.
think we had him. Yeah, there was one time there was a lot of people. I think we were sort of full. Weren't we?
Mm.
Hmm.
I've tagged him. We'll see if anything comes of it.
Yeah, Johnny's. Yeah, John. Well, he's our medical cover. Yeah.
He is.
Hmm.
He knows CPR or something.
Patch himself up. Yeah. It's like you
I think we're
remember
all
that thing in
we need Johnny. To be honest.
Do you remember that doctor that went swimming and got bitten by a shark in Australia and got out of the sea, sewed himself up, and then off to the pub to meet the lads that he was surfing with? It's like a pretty fucking Oz thing to do.
That's
that's
your
Johnny.
legend status there. Legend.
Yeah.
That's like a foil arms and hog thing, you know.
Yeah.
The legend.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Nobody bought anything retro then this week. Everybody just to
I've just been
into the
working.
summer.
Sorry.
Holding forward, am I?
Tying up things, yeah. Just like didn't take on any project yet. So.
Oh, I did get a new shipment of capacitors. That's there we go.
Yeah.
Spent the
There's a-
last hour of my work day filing them away instead of working.
I know Aric's got a big shipment of Chinese arm cloning chips or RISC-V chips.
That's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, we were going to do some keyboard controllers with them for different machines. And there's definitely a sort of a wee mini project going on, thinking about doing a sound chip for an MSX. But Aric's, it's all in Aric's case. I've got too many projects on to take on anything else. I have to finish a project before I take on another one. Oh, those CH32s.
RISC-Vs, MPUs, they are like dirt cheap. It's less than £1 for each, and they are equivalent to ST32, like fairly mid-range chips. So it's
Are you going to do the little adapter board for the 1200 with them?
Yeah, it's already there. It's performing better. USB hubs and support is behaving better than on STMs.
Nice.
So it's like more devices are actually working with them.
Wow, nice.
That's really good. That's really good.
So I'm really surprised. I hope they will not go bust or something like this company, because they are really doing a lot to undercut the market just now.
Yeah, you said there was it was like you could get them for $10 for 10 of them or something stupid like that.
Yeah, you can even get. Depends of the package. It looks like the bigger packages are much more expensive, but with smaller packages you can have like 48, 52 pence per chip. It's like they've got limited amount of RAM on them, but if your application is not really RAM intensive, then you can use those chips. They've got even one chip which is like tiny little rock bottom basic MPU for like few pence, like 10 pence or 12 pence. I haven't found any use for it, but it's like people are going crazy with it.
Oh, is that Johnny? No.
No.
I suppose I can share this. Actually,
Ooh, that is filthy.
Ooh, fancy.
it's
And
one
you
of
didn't have
those.
to wait 5 years for the case.
It's one of those Arashi cases that they nobody seems to want them, but they're
No,
absolutely
those are
fine.
very
They're
desirable.
Oh, the
slightly see-through.
semi-transparent. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks black most of the time. It's only if you shine something through it, then it just
So I
all the
think you need
LEDs
a
inside
Solus.
kind of. What?
You definitely need one of Rob's Solus boards.
Well, the blinking lights were cool because they used to pop out of here, like in.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you blew them up.
Well, what happened?
Don't
I
know.
don't know what's happened. Something's
working.
gone wrong with the blinking light 1260, which I have to fix because it's a rare board. There's only 10 of them.
It wasn't to do with the firmware upgrade that
No, he didn't.
cancelled it out or something.
It worked, and then one morning it didn't.
Ah.
But yeah,
I've had my fun. That's all that matters.
They're slightly. You can see the.
Yeah, yeah.
light.
They're a lovely case.
Yeah. They actually are, and they're still in stock. It looks like nobody really wants them.
Is that the A1200.net ones?
Yeah.
Maybe no one's.
And then I
buying them.
used just a US version of the keyboard. Didn't have any UK ones, so just like the US one is very similar.
Right.
And you just change that in.
There is
Workbench.
a US and UK version. Different US. Is that a 500 or a
1200. Yeah.
500? Yeah. Was it originally a 500 keyboard?
It was sorry, yeah, it was. It was originally a 500 keyboard. My original 500 keyboard. Yeah. Okay,
and so that meant that the keyboard membrane I gave you wasn't used because that was a.
It was. Yeah, I used it. No, the keycaps. The keycaps, like the order they are on the is
the enter key doesn't. Does it? Does it work? Does the enter? Oh no.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's the right enter key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Worked
It's
fine.
just literally the at and the quote sign that are the wrong way around.
So apart from the
something like that, yeah. So, but you can set it up in
the
Workbench as a US keyboard, and that's it.
Some of them have different size enter keys. That's the worry.
Some of the older ones, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a 500 keyboard. I just cut the top of the metal bracket, and it fits fine.
Amiga Bill's too busy to join.
And Neil's still in the bath, is he?
I didn't make that connection.
Amiga Bill's got a better excuse. He's in Los Angeles filming, so
that's fair.
Yeah,
I didn't make that connection. Hello, Chris. Sorry, I didn't realize that was the same Chris. You made an awful mess of those keys. all right. It melted them in the pot. But yeah, sorry, Chris. Welcome along.
It's content. It's content.
Chris lives over on the East Coast, and I recapped and repaired his 600, if I remember right, years ago. But I don't think he's been to any of the meetups. It just hasn't worked out. So, but there you go.
I was trying to remember who it was that came along to a meet. It was about 2017, 2018. It was the one I met. It was the one that Neil got clipped at the start of that that video, and it was a TF 530 or something, and the machine, the card looked like it had actually been in a terrible fire. It was everything was burnt.
Toasty.
Yeah,
I don't remember that one. I remember you saying about it.
It was in the hall in the church hall down at Crossmaloof, and I had forgotten about it until somebody had asked me, and I was like, "Yeah, that was pretty bad actually. Yeah, that one was." I looked at it and went, "Holy shit! What did you do to this thing?" It's like, I said, "Can you see what's wrong with it?" I'm like,
"Well, can't see what's right with
I
it."
insult you. I've only just don't want to properly insult you, but this looks like fucking flamethrower.
Did you reflow this on a barbecue?
Yeah.
Microwave, maybe.
When all you have is a hammer.
I think I did just go have that one.
Yeah.
Less hassle.
Path of least resistance. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I've been doing for last a week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the 500.
Purple 500.
Yeah, plus. It took me a year to find the fault on it. So
Correct.
I just had like times when I just couldn't spend any more time. I had to put it away, and then there was like on third attempt, I did find that bloody resistor network, which was cracked and was playing, and it was like made all the system weird. It was like crashing unusually, and it's like I couldn't get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, and you get some of those like different revisions that don't have those resistor networks on them as well, and it's just fun and games.
The fun.
But was that a new resistor network on it?
I think so. I had to make something when I was like building the board. I had to crack it, maybe overheat it or something like this. When I was taking this off, it was like it just crumbled.
Right.
So it was
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah. Wow.
A slightly faulty component though can really throw you.
Yeah.
Do you remember that problem I had with the clock on the TF-MSX for months?
Yeah. Everything you were throwing at it, I was like, oh no. And I was really worried because if you had that problem and I was shipping it, then I might end up having a lot of recalls.
Yeah.
But it was a faulty crystal.
Yeah. On the VDP.
On the VDP. Yeah.
And like it worked fine, but it slowed down. Like over time, it would actually slow down to crawl and just crash the whole thing. I've never seen no.
That's mad.
Like I've had bad crystals on arcade boards, and they're just dead. That's it. Like or they just don't work. But like something for a crystal to work and then slow down over a period of 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I'm impressed you found that one, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it was the last thing I hadn't swapped between the two parts.
Fair bit of effort involved before getting to that stage then. That's quite annoying.
Like I tried the VDP, it changed the VDP, changed the Z80. Thank God I socketed everything, actually. Against your advice, Stephen.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a fan of socketing. Because I've had so many things go wrong because of the sockets.
Yeah, I'm glad I did then, because I was able to just eliminate everything. I thought it was the VDP for the longest time.
No, I can see why you would think that, but then I couldn't see it, and then I was showing you a video and saying, I'm actually able to run Vampire Killer for a few hours at a time, and you were like getting 5 minutes, and then it would stop.
Yeah.
So this is
It
the
was
problem
weird.
I'm having with the TF 4060. It's fairly fucking specific. It's 1 bank of RAM, always the same column. 5 boards, exactly the same fold.
It's mad.
Does not exhibit this problem at 50 megahertz either.
Only at 100.
Only at 100.
Assuming you
I've
see
tried-
different. Sorry.
No, I've tried throwing. So I did a respin of the board. I threw doubled the amount of caps around the RAM because I thought, well, that might be it. I've had 5 gigahertz scope probes put on all of the RAM select lines around that chip, that bank. No way, nothing. Does not make any sense. Don't get it.
To say I've
I
got
don't even know how
nothing.
to go-
useful
I don't
to
even know
add.
how to go about figuring out what's wrong.
Half a chip.
Half a chip, basically. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, that's depressing.
probably spent $1,000 trying to figure out what's up with this. Over a year, but not like in one hit, but over a bunch of. So that's Sorry, Rob.
Sorry, no. I was just saying that Chucky's saying there that just says it's actually random rather than being a stuck bit, which is interesting.
Yeah,
because it means it's like like.
but there's
Welcome
4
along.
banks on the top. There's 4 banks on the top, and there's 4 banks on the
Yeah.
bottom, and they all shit. It's like a matrix. You'd expect a column or a row to be out, not
Yeah.
just one bank.
But one bank is high stated, or
And
tri-stated.
Okay, right. I thought,
Yeah.
right, well, it must be a bad chip. Swap the chips over.
Yeah.
Chips work. The chip that was there now works fine. It's got to
Mad.
be some sort of timing issue with the FPGA, but I'm screwed if I know what it is.
You reassign some select lines and swap them over, like cut them on the board and swap them over. Will that tell you something?
That's my next move.
Because it sounds like a nightmare.
Well,
Oh, he's gone again. I bet you
He's dead.
he tried to get in with Chrome. That's what that. Anytime I use Chrome for this, it just shits itself.
could it be to do with trace lengths? No, the trace lengths are not the issue. In fact, so the chip the chip that's the problem is the nearest to the FPGA, but it's the bank furthest away. So that a chip has 2 banks. So it's the chip furthest away. It's the chip nearest, but the bank furthest away. And and on the same chip, there's another bank that works. So it's like,
That's bonkers.
It's going to be something stupid like using the same reusing the same name in the code or something like that.
no, honestly, I've been through this. I spent a year looking for this issue. I cannot.
I can
find it.
imagine. Yeah.
How many
Jesus.
different 060s have you tried?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. Wow.
I mean, John has the exact repeatable behavior in his board. I bet you if I gave you this firmware, you'd have the repeatable behavior on yours.
If I had another 128 mega RAM on it, that's some serious echo.
Oh,
That's,
Oh, it was Ronald. Ronald.
anyway, so that's
it sounds like
I'm
a
just
pain in the
going-
hoop.
I'm just beating my head on the desk on that one. I don't really know where else
Yeah,
to go.
that's very irritating.
I'm actually considering respinning it again, ditching the FPG and putting ZPLD back on and seeing what the hell happens.
What does that lose you, if anything, if you did that?
Well, we can kiss goodbye to DMA from IDE.
Right.
Which would be nice.
It would be nice.
This is the epic evolution of beard growth. I like that. See, yeah. So I've got no beard. Some beard. A little bit of beard with Rob. Then we go to Ellie. Then we go to Eric. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was working on a lot of music this week, so I didn't have much time for anything tinkering or retro. Oh, I did get a new module working on my Eurorack, just a noise generator. It just makes white noise, blue noise, white noise, pink noise.
Not just screaming noises then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they're handy to generate like stuff like hi hats and snare sounds and things like that.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
How big's your Eurorack now then? Because they tend to exponentially grow. All the people I know who have them, they sort of start tiny, and then the next time I visit them, there's like a wall.
Yeah, it's getting there. it's getting there. Can I swap the cameras here?
Yeah, that's turning into a wall.
Yeah.
Nice.
I do. The chances of me getting a beard are 0 because I got 2 bald bits right here, and it just
Just have to go
and,
for.
that and my Fiona doesn't like facial hair at all. So
You just go for a big twirly moustache.
in lockdown I got as far as about 3 or 4 weeks, and I just couldn't stand it any longer.
Oh, I have a video with you with a mustache, Stephen.
No, time for present mode, is it?
No, it's a deep fake of Father Ted.
Nice.
I made.
Hot mustard.
No, it was the with the spot of dirt on the window.
Oh yeah.
And I used Stephen's face for it. Something
Nice.
right here.
And he did one of me as Father Dougal going for the delivering the milk. 2 points. 2 points in there.
2 pints.
I don't think I
That
still have
woman
them,
was
I
in the
think.
nip.
There's one on the net.
Quality.
Doesn't get any better than this.
Well, I tried to
You're
summon
away.
Johnny, but he's not listening. He's clearly away doing other things.
Yeah, he's probably building a Land Rover, to be honest.
That's true. Or lying under a chassis, one of the two.
So, Rob, how close are you to actually finishing Solus?
Now that you have your case. Yeah, not that. Oh, Jesus.
There's a threat.
Yeah, lovely. It's kind of I have an annoying bug in it that I need to sort out before I can do a production run of it, and that is basically it. It should be ready then, because I think the chips are available again now. That was the main holdup.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
So yeah, the controller chips, and I wasn't going redoing it for another chip. Just wasn't gonna happen. I started redoing it for a chip a couple of years ago, and then that chip went out of stock. So I was like, no, fuck it. I'm not going chasing chips that are running out all over the place. So so I just left it. So but yeah, that's still available, or that's available again now. So Not that far away. I just had to get the thumb in and actually sit down and do some coding to try and fix it. But at the moment, it is possible, and I did it at Nottingham. It is possible to get it to change the settings on it so that it bricks itself, and you can't get control of it back with every flash.
Yeah. It was very impressive, the display it was doing. It was just a shame that it was no longer listening to anything you were trying to tell it.
Basically, the LEDs are a higher priority than communicating with the Amiga. So you get enough LEDs to do enough changing. It just ignores everything since.
with a massive strip running right round the table we'd set up, and Rob fired it up, and it was like, oh, I can't change anything anymore.
Yeah, that was it. And of course, I had saved it to the flash, so when you powered it up again, it's straight to that setting again. So it was stuck. So you have to pull it out and flash it separately. But anyway, once I figure out how to safeguard against that, it should be ready to go. Yeah. But
otherwise, people will get lightning in their machines when they turn it on. So
basically, it wasn't exactly lightning. It was more like a fucking circus. It was just like, like a kind of, just a mental bit of rainbow color flashing thing. Yeah, it was pretty extreme. Probably no reason to ever choose those settings, but
it was. How many LEDs was that again? It was ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was close to 200.
That's right.
It was a lot. It went around the whole table.
It did, yes. I remember taping it to the top of all the monitors all the way around.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's the clock port, and it's not. It's because when the communication was, when the Amiga had priority, you get these glitches because the timing is really, really tight on updating the LEDs. So if you need to update the LEDs quickly enough, it has no time left for dealing with the clock port. So that was what happened. There he is. He made it.
Look what the cat dragged in. How you doing, Dave?
And there's the cat, look.
Oh, yeah.
Just dragged him in. Oh, he's
No.
I've insulted him, he's run away.
Yeah, that's it.
You guys hear me okay?
What?
Yeah. So, Stephen, who have you killed this week?
What have you done to poor Ronald McDonald?
Who died? Yeah.
No, it was Mark Parkinson, wasn't it? Michael Parkinson.
Say again.
It was Michael Parkinson that you killed this.
Oh,
this
yeah.
week, wasn't it?
That was last week.
Oh, was it last week?
He's a busy man. He can only kill one celebrity a week. Come on.
The head teacher at my daughter's school died.
Oh man!
Just
after parents' night, was it?
Yeah.
I don't know
why I'm laughing.
I don't know why
it's fucking terrible.
funny.
It's just your delivery, man. It's amusing.
Did you talk to him?
It's the way you tell them.
Her. I might have spoke to her a couple of times.
Recently?
Hello. He's back.
Oh, there
hello.
we go. There we go.
Back again.
I couldn't get it working in Firefox again. I forgot that, and then I had to sign in Edge, and of course Edge doesn't know who I am in Google, so I've got two-factor authentication and all these wonderful.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Sorry about that. I had about 5 zombie things appearing earlier, so I hit a button. I think that said
2, 3, 4, 5. I can count 6 now.
I see what you did there.
How's it going, Dave?
Terrible. I haven't got a minute. I've been rushing about. I've just got home just now. I thought I'd be home for about 8:30, and now it's 10:30. And Anyway, nice to see you all.
You're probably the only person who's done any retro because you've been getting well into your Amiga the last week or two, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
So,
Build.
yeah, I've been doing. There's 3 projects I've got on the go. I'll do the Amiga last actually. There's the Atari. There's a Mega ST. I bought a Mega ST this week. Now I've got a Mega STE, and the Mega STE is the one you want to have, but it comes with a crap keyboard. And the Mega ST, the original one, came with a Cherry MX black keyboard.
Ah, nice.
Mechanical one, so it's lovely. Plus, it's got the sloping function keys and all the rest of it. The Mega STE one looks fairly cheap. I mean, this is it here, and it doesn't look like anything really. It's not very fancy, and it's not very good. So I bought a whole Mega ST just to get the keyboard. and it was untested, and the keyboard is an absolute shambles. It's absolutely filthy. It's encrusted in stuff. It's not just stuff that wipes off. It's stuff that needs scrubbed. Plus, I need to desolder all the all the key switches and solder in new ones. I don't even know if it works because it didn't come with a cable. The cable is
Dave, was it?
Sex machine, sex machine, filthy.
It was covered in crusty white stuff.
That sounds awfully like Ronald McDonald's laptop he got in for repair this week. Actually,
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful
that was
thing.
disgusting.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, similar to that.
Lovely.
Except this is the only way I'm going to get one of these keyboards. So I've got that too. That's one project. The next project is the floppy Tower of Power. I bought a CD duplication thing. So what it was is for like record studios or churches or pirates would have this, and you would have like a control unit which was a 5 1/4 inch bay, and you would have a drive to read from, and you would have like 5 or 6 different drives to write to. So you just duplicate CDs and DVDs in it. And I bought one of those with the intention of putting some grease weasels in it, and then having a 360K 5 1/4, a 1.2 meg 5 1/4, a 40 track 3 inch, and an 80 track 3 inch. And then I may as well put both types of 3.5 in. I'm not sure it's necessary, but I may as well put both types of 3.5 in. And then I'll have the grease weasels, and I've all connected up by USB, a nice power supply, and I'll be able to write any kind of disc I want. And I didn't want to buy 3 grease weasels at the price people sell them for, so I ordered a stack of 10 from JLPCB, and I got one of the resistor values wrong. So I now need to do a wee bit of fixing on that. That's fine. It was just a 2.2 instead of a 22. When you search on there for it, you search for 22, and it'll show you a 2.2. So I will 2.2
So
kilos.
221 instead of a 220.
Yeah. So easy enough done. And I've got that to fix, and then I can build it up. But the main thing I'll be doing is the Amiga. So I'm really far on with that. I'm using the complication just now is using an Amiga 500 keyboard with the Amiga 1200. Now, on paper, it's actually quite easy because there's the secret header. The secret header that you can just solder a pin header on, and bang, there you've got the pins that you need, not in the right order, but that's no problem. You've got the pins that you need, and the wee problem I've got is trying to work out how to sort out the LEDs and those. Stephen did this kit for the 500 keyboard, so that theoretically would just mean switching over some of the pins, and I did that. And then when I panel mounted it on the back, the cable's not long enough, so I've got that to do. So I've got some chopping and resoldering, and I've got a panel mount thing for that. So it's easy enough if I get my head around it. So I've got that to do, and the CD drive to mount. The can of I bought vinyl dye. I bought a can of vinyl dye. Someone recommended it in here, and it might have been something. Yes, yeah. For the floppy power button. So as far as I know, I'll just take some high grit sandpaper and just give it a little bit of a key, spray that on, and hopefully that'll be the power button.
Give it. Just say if you're doing that, it's many light coats is the way to actually achieve a decent finish.
Okay, so many light coats then. Once I've got that in, I've just got to there's a bar at the front for mounting the floppy drive and the CD drive on it, and it's a pain in the tits. I've got the floppy drive mounted. It doesn't mount at the right height, so I've had to use these spacers on it to get it up a bit, and it's difficult because you're trying to fish this screw through from underneath through this spacer into the floppy drive. I got it all done, and now I realise I need to take it back out again. Take it out because the CD drive screws can't go in with the floppy drive there, so I've got that to do. But other than that, I mean that's it. Once it's done, hopefully. I don't see people talk about buffering and so on, and I don't really know whether I'm all right. I'm using this case. Is a K60? I think it splits the ID into the SD card reader as well as the CD-ROM, and I don't know if that's going to work or not. I have a clue. I mean, the easiest thing to do is to try it.
If you keep the length short, you don't need a buffer. I always joke that the Germans always want an IDE buffer because they like to have their hard disks in the garage next door.
Right. Well, there's no cable on the SD card,
Nah, that's your main drive, so that I think you'll be fine.
and the cable for the CD-ROM. I've got one of these crimping tools, and I've got headers, so I'll cut the cable as short as it possibly can go, but still go. So it won't be like one of the old IBM cables flopping about inside with masses of stuff in it. So hopefully that'll do. But I'm really pleased that everything works. Anything I've done, I've plugged in, it's worked first time. That the scan doubler. Rob, you always told me it was definitely a flicker fixer, and I wanted to believe you, but I thought, don't get your hope.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, and it is. I've checked. It is a flicker fixer,
Cool.
and a scan doubler, and the output. I haven't tested the output on the monitor behind me. The CRT for it. I've not tested the output in that, but great. New stock Dell. No, not a Newell stock Dell. Newell stock Gateway, which is, I guess, is Amiga appropriate. A Newell stock Gateway in black to match it all. A 17-inch CRT. So I think it's going to look fantastic on that.
I think it will. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to how it all. I'm just surprised there's nothing's gone wrong with it. Even the
Well, give it
motherboard
time.
itself.
Careful.
Wait till your partitions start disappearing and all sorts of shenanigans, and you look at it sideways.
even the motherboard, I sent it off to Pilot because I did the 500. I wanted him to give the 500 an ultrasonic bath to make sure that any remaining juice was cleared off. So I said, you may as well do the recap for me in the 1200 because you do them all the time and I don't. I could do it, but you'd do it better. And he said there's nothing wrong with the board at all. Even when he took off the caps, there was no damage. There was no leaking caps. There was no cap juice at all. Never mind any damage. So
it's impressive.
It looks to be absolutely great. It looks to have everything's just. I've just rolled 20s all the way through this. It's great.
Yeah,
but
you're setting yourself up for a fall now.
You have to rub it in with Pilot. He had a chance to buy a TF360 and he declined.
I will mention that to him. Yeah.
I know how you feel though. It's great. Like when I was building that Amiga 1200, I was like, "Oh, it's working, and this is working, and this is working." Shit.
Yeah.
You guys can fuck off right now because nothing's working for me right now.
You know,
I don't know these things. I plugged in the TF 1230 into it. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything. It automatically.
The guy who made that.
Even that, it goes to 030. I've gone to the Amiga test kit, the floppy. I love that floppy disk. Key phrases are genius. And it tells me it's an 030, and it tells me the memory. I was like, well, that's it. I don't need to do anything. It's just there. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
I was
many buttons have died to bring you this card.
Plug and play.
The only thing it's really I'm not sure about is if I use the IDE header on that, will disk activity show on the Amigas? No, it won't.
No.
There's no way around that other than attaching a little wire to one of the pins, I think.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Dave. When I do the respin of the 1232, I'll put an activity header on there just for you.
Just for you and everyone else. Can you?
This is 1232.
There's a lot of people asking for that. To be fair.
Oh, yeah. So I like cats.
Dave, would this, which is I like the buffer, work for you? Do you need it?
I don't know. I can pretend that's it,
Whoa.
which is not at all. That's a grease
Right.
weasel for Amstrad floppy drive. I don't know if I need a buffer or not. People in here say, you don't need a buffer. So I'll try without, and if I need one, I'll get one. Sure,
Yeah, if you get corruption and drives disappearing and stuff like that, then yeah, maybe try out a buffer. But I've used cables yay long and the grant, no bother.
I mean, the thing is, it's only really going to be the CD-ROM that's going to be affected because you've already said the SD is pretty much going to be sitting right on the IDE header. So
well,
yeah,
LAX,
I think
I mean, there's no cable. Yeah.
exactly.
Modern drives tend to put a lot less of a load, and they're kind of lower voltage as well. They're more tolerant of lower signals. Like it's, yeah. I think a lot of that was around as well when people were using stacks and mechanical drives and old heavy CD drives and stuff like that. But I've never had any problems.
people like to layer on their own caution on top of other people's caution. Oh, you might need a buffer for that turnstile. You should have a fluffer. You should have a fluffer. You should have a buffer for that. You will need a buffer for it. My fluffer.
Yes, I don't think you need a fluffer. No.
I think that was a fluffer.
Yeah.
So is the 1232 going to be the replacement for the 1230? It's not just having a laugh to put an FPU in it to shut people up. It's actually going to be the one going forward.
Can it be both?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, is it like
Well, that was a Family Guy reference. Yeah,
Oh.
can it be both? He's in the doctors, and the doctors tell him he's not got cancer and blah blah blah. And he's like, "What are you saying?" And his wife says, "He's not hitting on you. He's telling you you're fine." And the doctor says, "Can it be both?" Sorry.
So that'll be my upgrade then, upgrading to 1232.
There's only one in existence, I think, at the moment.
I did make a suggestion to you that you put an FPU activity light on so that people can have a great big flashing LCD on the front of the Amiga, so that if the FPU ever does get used, it's kind of like.
Do you know?
I'm doing
That's
stuff.
doable.
Yeah.
I might actually do that. Okay. Well, just put it on the chip select pin.
Yeah.
If
Genius.
I have a spare pin, I'll do that for the troll. Okay.
Ah, yeah. Top secret header on the board. You know, it's like
Actually, why don't you release the blinking light version altogether?
Supporting it is. Do you know how? Actually, John, Chucky, type in the chat why I shouldn't release the blinking light version. He will tell you. Summary: it is a fucking arse to solder those.
they are a bastard to solder, all right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I melted
you
about
get into the
5 of
rhythm
them.
of it.
Just, you can only do them with hot air, and they start to the lens on them.
Oh, they're like jelly.
Yeah.
But I a while ago designed a clock and it has 80 of those LEDs on it, and all soldered. But you get used to it, and then you kind of you know exactly what you're doing then. But yeah, the first 5 or 6 LEDs just melted. That was that.
Like ice cream.
Yeah, they are. It's mad, and you kind of see it, and it's just like, oh, that's fine. Oh no, it's not. It's just seeping sideways. It's going like this. Like, you bastard.
Yeah. Wait, I'll get another beer. Back in a second.
So that's my projects. I'm really enjoying doing them, but I'm just surprised that nothing's really gone wrong so far. Even the resistors being wrong on the Grease Weasel cards, the B4 Grease Weasel cards. When I repaired that temporarily by using the resistor leg across the resistor just to use what we used to use with a nail for a fuse.
Mm-hmm.
Just to find out if Windows would recognize the thing, and Windows recognized it, so that indicates I've done it right. This is the first PCBs I've ever ordered, and it looks as if apart from that little thing, it looks as if they're all right. So I just expected it to go wrong and then to have 10 dud cards to throw in the bin.
Yeah, that's a bastard when you order stuff like that, and you're like, oh, that's such a stupid thing. But yeah, when it's just a little rework like that, that's grand.
Because I've got them to assemble all the SMD stuff, so the CPLD, I think it's a CPLD unit. There's some kind of logic on there anyway. That's on there, the programmable logic anyway. So that's on there. So the cars are like a tenner each kind of thing.
Cool.
So this is tomorrow's job if I get a chance. Birdseed.
Yay.
Can I bring you some celebrity death news?
Oh yes.
It's literally it's just
time of the evening.
It's time for the
we need a wee jingle for you,
celebrity.
Yeah.
The celebrity death
Hang on. If we say yes, does that mean a celebrity will die?
No, the celebrities. In fact, you can't even. He's not even really a celebrity. He's just somebody that everybody knows.
Just his neighbour, like.
It just came up on my phone. Mohammed Al Fayed, former Harrods owner, son of Dodi, has died. Father of Dodi, sorry, has died.
Oh,
yeah.
He's
I
not
didn't
been
speak
around
to
for
him
a long
recently.
time.
I spoke to him years ago, but
there you go.
not recently.
He's a character. He's definitely a character. He was.
Aye.
Was he? If I'm right, was he not outright accusing the royal family of bumping off his son?
I think so. Yeah, there was something.
And what's
Straight onto Google, Dave.
What's R.I.P. Ronald McDonald? What's that about?
Earlier on, when I joined at 8:30, when this was just kicking off, I was in McDonald's. And my name was Ronald McDonald then. And I just thought, well, I'm back here now at home. There's a chance.
Have you Googled it to make sure?
No, I better know. A habit of killing folk just by Googling them now.
The death
just
of
phone
Ronald
him and
McDonald.
ask if he's all right.
How do you spell Cranley?
Here.
Stephen, we are going to need a jingle for celebrity death news.
You missed that.
Yeah,
You missed. I should have waited till you come back. I says, would you mind if I gave some celebrity death news? I've gave it now. You want to hear?
Okay.
Kill another one.
He died.
Mohammed Al Fayed has died, age 94. I didn't speak to him recently.
Who did you change on your phone to be the Mohammed Al Fayed?
Oh dear. Brilliant.
Aye.
Was
That
it one
was
of
very
your,
well done.
your wife's aunties again?
Yep. Janice.
Celebrity death of the week.
We should do a jingle.
Definitely needs to be a jingle. Ollie, that's on you, I'm afraid, mate. You're there.
Yep.
The nominated is a jingler a thing? Is that like a jongler? A jingler?
A jingler.
Jingler.
I think we should do though the more obscure the celebrity, the better.
I'm hoping Pierce. Go and talk to Pierce Morgan.
Hey, can we give you targets?
That guy's been dead for years.
KPIs.
KPIs for celebrities, brilliant.
Can we send you the Tory Party conference?
That's not a bad shout, actually.
See, that's the thing. They're no celebrities. They're just assholes.
Aye, we could have arsehole death news as well. I'm thinking
There's a fair
Arsehole
crossover,
death
to be
news.
fair.
Well,
Celebrity and arseholes not mutually exclusive.
I don't know. That sounds like two jingles.
There's a hope. There's a hope. It's gonna work this time.
Oh, hey, Ravi. Ravi's in the chat.
Hey.
Oh, Ravi.
Mr. Formula. You can join if you want. I'll ping you the link. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Come on, Ravi.
It's highlighted anyway. In the...
I think anyone that joins should have a segment of their own.
That's a lot of jingles, man. Come on.
It's not even paid work. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
We were talking about having, I mean, we weren't seriously talking about this, we were jestingly talking about having an intro for the Fishwives and what it might be like. And yeah, I'm
That's
not
how
sure.
that's how the thumbnail was born. Actually, I was trying to remember earlier because we joked about doing a cover of Only Fools and Horses, but like with a kazoo and a ukulele.
I think, yeah, I think you came out quite well as Rodney, to be honest. And Chucky was brilliant as Albert. We were discussing on the WhatsApp group what other who would be everybody else.
Who would Duncan be?
Steptoe, it's a
Trigger.
different series, but
Duncan is Trigger.
That wouldn't stop him in any way, shape, or form, you know.
I have to say that Duncan's Trigger.
I want to meet Duncan. You've talked the guy up.
he's amazing. He really is.
Yes.
The
What
quiet
happened?
taste.
I haven't seen him for a while. What's the story?
I was at his house on what day was it?
Oh God, is he still alive?
Yeah, I was at his house. He's moved to Colwynnon, which is just down the road for me.
Right.
So I was at his house last week. Having a
Is he
chat.
still shopping at the shop with the big windies? Oh dear. Oh my.
If there's any scandal going on in the Scottish Amiga users group, Duncan's usually at the centre of it.
Yeah, front and centre.
Good guy though.
I was going to say he is a good guy from what you.
He is a good guy. We slag him, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good
He's a good guy, but he's a jakey. Let's be fair.
He's like he's a likeable Jakey. Like what's his name out of Still Game? What's that junkie's name?
Oh, aye, Pete. Or you
No,
mean
no,
the
aye, the one with the teeth. What's his name? Jen, what's the guy's name for Still Game with the teeth? Mick the junkie.
Methadone Mick.
Methadone Mick, that's it. I can't believe we're
Do you
comparing
know what?
Duncan to
Do you
Methadone
know what?
Mick.
Duncan wouldn't even be annoyed with you for saying that. He'd just look at
No,
you.
he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And he'd be trying to think of something just to come back with. If he
I'd
hadn't,
be like, it's pure Pixar, innit? You had to have seen Still Game to get that reference.
Has Ollie seen Still Game? Because that
I
must
think
be
you've seen a few clips of it.
foreign.
You've seen
See-
during the fat though. You've seen Goni no day that.
Yeah, he showed me
My
that. yeah.
life revolves around chewing the fat and Still Game references.
It's Still Game's not as good as Father Ted.
No,
But is it the closest we've got? Is it a nice kind of comfortable, safe sitcom you can watch that's just cozy like Father Ted?
I mean, it's the sort of thing I could put on in the background. I've seen it so many times. I could play every part. I use references daily in my life.
You cut off Harry's.
That's it. Half 2. When it gets to 2:30.
My favourite one
Obviously,
is the
you
one,
don't watch it as much as I do, but I.
My favourite was the one where
On your
the Naveed, the shopkeeper, and the junkie girl comes in, trying to scam him
With the chocolate buttons.
with the chocolate buttons. No.
No, not chocolate buttons.
She says, "See this chocolate? My wee Justin ate them and shatter up his back."
Yes,
It's
it's
got
good.
shit
That
off
part.
his back, aye.
He says, "Yes, I see the problem." You know, it's good Indian accent. He says, "You gave a 2-year-old a piece of chocolate the size of a tombstone." Jeff gave him shit on his back, you know? All he likes is a family-sized bag of Rebels. And he's going through it going, "Yes, I see you've got all the food groups here: chocolate, coffee, oranges." And it's funny because it's pretty close to the truth.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
aye.
there's an air of truth about it, sadly.
So it was funny because years ago you used to be able to drive around Mary Hill and find all the kind of spots where they filmed it.
There's a fictional place called Craig Lang they use, but Craig Lang was just really anywhere from kind of Canberra's Lang through to the other side of Glasgow. Anywhere there would be it.
Yeah, they used Darnley as well before they knocked down all the flats right at the start of Still Game, the first series. they use Darnley. There's actually a scene where they're walking along and you can look down and you can see the shopping, the kind of shops and stuff where
Whereabouts
B&M and
in
all that
Darnley?
are. Hmm?
Whereabouts in Darnley? Because I used to live like you could see Darnley from my house. in the
Right.
old days.
No, as you go through Barhead and come into Darnley for that end,
Mhm.
they've got all the kind of new houses. I say new,
Yeah.
they've been up for 20 years now, 15 years now.
Right.
But that they were all like no high-rise flats, but they were like flats that were maybe 4 high.
Right. All right. I know you are. Yeah.
And they redeveloped that entire area.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they used that. In actual fact, the first episode of Still Game, there was a scene where they were in a scheme with boarded up windows, and there was a Luton van that blew up, and that was what was Darnley at that time. So if you ever watch the first episode of Still Game, you'll see there's a bit in it where you see them looking down onto kind of Pollock Shields kind of area for that side. I don't know if that's actually Pollock Shields. Rob, you'll know better, but Darnley looking down.
Yeah, it's more like
that kind of
Shotlands.
Nits Hill.
Yeah, or what's it
Silverburn
called?
area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before it was Silverburn.
Before it was
Pol-
okay.
Yeah, because I think it was the Pollock Centre back then. Because Silverburn opened in.
You're talking before I moved to Glasgow. Then.
But that's Pollock.
Yeah.
That's Pollock proper. That's actual Pollock, not Pollock
Yeah.
Shields, which is over the other side of the park.
You're talking
But yeah.
Pollock.
Yeah, Pollock. The Pollock Centre, they knocked that down about 20 years ago, and then they built Silverburn on the same site. Jeez, we're a Friday night. I'm talking about bloody shopping centres.
I got a new doormat inspired by Still Game. I've just sent a picture.
Weckham.
To Stephen. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. I really like it because people might notice, they might not notice,
Aye.
or they might not know why something's wrong with it. Like, what's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. It's a scene in Still Game where,
Welcome.
yeah, one of them gets a new doormat and gets it cheap off of Winston, who's one of the cadgers, kind of dodgy guy, and he just says, "Oh, you're welcome."
You Weckham.
Brilliant.
I think my favourite scene in Still Game is the Timpson's Permagrip.
Oh yeah.
1999. Best of gear.
Yes.
And they all
A
slip
pair
on
of
the
these you're wanting.
Yes. Timpson's Permagrip. Boof.
Then he goes.
So they've got all
Yep.
these high grip footwear, and they go out in the snow, and they all fall on their arse, and they can't get up.
One of them falls down, and the second one says, "No, it's a pair of these you're looking, Timpson's Permagrip," and then he goes his arse, and then another one comes up and says, "It's these Timpson's Permagrip you're looking for." Bang.
Then he goes.
Have you
There's
watched
some
it?
absolute
Rob?
classic characters.
I've seen bits of it. All right. Yeah. I haven't.
We need to watch it.
I haven't,
I haven't watched it through.
religiously, to be honest, either. I mean, I used to watch Chewing the Fat at New Year. That was my.
Oh, Chewing the Fat. Chewing the Fat was just my favourite Chewing the Fat sketch. Is there's a guy, I don't know whether he's a door-to-door salesman or whatever, he's out doing his day-to-day stuff and he's absolutely bursting for the toilet, and he chaps this guy's door, and it's the guys that play Jack and Victor. Ford, is it Ford?
Ford Prefect.
Prefect.
Ford Kieran.
Aye, and Greg Hemphill. So Greg Hemphill, the guy that plays Victor, he chaps the door, and Jack, the guy that plays Jack, comes to the door. He's like, "Listen, I'm really sorry, big man." He's got the suit and all that one. Really, really sorry. Can I use your toilet? Aye, no bother. In you come. So he shows him through, and it's this kind of 70s decor house.
Yeah.
He shows him through, and you go. So he literally gets into the toilet, pants down, sits down in the pan, right? Relief that he's managed to get to the toilet, and he looks up, right? And the door to the toilet is right in front of him, and it's a glass door. Right? It's no frosted, it's clear glass, and the guy that's just in gets a chair for the kitchen and sits it down, right? And he sits down in the chair and he starts peeling an orange. He's just watching him. And he winks, he gives him a wink.
God.
I'm always curious how well it translates to people outside of kind of the Central Belt in Scotland, or whether
Aye.
it's Scottish people, whether it's kind of other people from elsewhere look at it and go, nah, I don't get this.
I mean, I'm obviously not from the Central Belt. I get most of the jokes, but not all of them, obviously. But
I think I can relate to a lot of them because I'm for the council scheme. I grew up in the top end of Stevenson.
I'm for Hamilton, so it's a wee bit posh for me.
Milngavie. I went to a work event in Callander last week and went through Milngavie. I'm never up that neck of the woods. I know it, but I was taking the piss. Come on.
I know, but I can't. When someone
Down
says
with
it,
this sort of
it
thing.
triggers me. It's really painful to listen to that.
I always remember I started my apprenticeship in 2001. One of the first things I ever did was take a phone call in the office, and my boss was like, "You're not going to answer that phone," and I'm like, "Do I have to?" Aye. The guy, it was an American guy. He says, "Is that Johnston Castings in Dalry?" I'm like, "Dalry? It's Dalry, mate."
Get in trouble.
No.
I used to work in home base.
No, this was a guy phoning me. This was a guy phoning me.
I used to work in home base years ago. There was a list of other stores' numbers, so obviously you could phone him and say, "Do you have this in stock?" So a list of the different stores there, and Mulgai was written Mulgui. Mulgai is properly spelled Milngavie, but it is pronounced Mulgui. Mulgai.
We had a guy.
People can't pronounce DL.
We had a guy when I used to work with the NHS, and he was a practice manager, and his name was Steve Coburn, but his surname was spelt Cockburn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Name was Steve.
But he actually got fed up with folk saying Steve Cockburn, that he changed his name on the gal in AD to Coburn. He spelt it wrong. He spelt his surname wrong.
Coburn, yeah.
Yes.
Aye, because there's obviously Cockburn Street in Edinburgh, which is equally well known. Yeah.
There's a town in, I don't know where it is. It must be Lanarkshire or somewhere. Coburn, just off the M74.
Right.
Yeah, but it's spelled Cockburn. Yeah.
They always are.
It's like Ardrossan is shithole.
Oh, he's a kitten.
Yeah, that's well.
Ardrossan. I can't say anything bad about Ardrossan for multiple reasons.
Yeah,
it's a nice place. It's a nice place to go.
Yeah.
I have people who work for me come from Ardrossan, and my wife's got a business in Ardrossan, so I can't say anything.
We have a few interesting place name spellings in Ireland as well. The one that comes to mind is Dunleary. I know.
I
Give it a go.
I saw that.
Ollie's accepted.
I saw that. I've seen that driving on the N1 going from Belfast to here's Ravi.
To Dunleary. Yeah, it's one of kind of the major areas.
A dodgy place.
Dublin. Hey, Ravi, how are you?
Yeah, there's a ferry port anyway, so.
Yeah. DUN, new word, LAOGHAIORE.
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, and you know all the place names in Ireland have the English version and the Irish version. It's the same.
Yeah. The further north in Scotland, you get exactly the same thing because you have the Gaelic, obviously, and the English underneath. And sometimes it's exactly the same, and other times you're like, how did they get from one to the other? I don't understand.
I think I would explain most of them, but yeah.
It's weird. It's weird down here because they've now started to put signs up with a Gaelic the Gaelic on it, and they're making up some names for things that never had a Gaelic name. They're making up a Gaelic name for it. It's like, well, I don't know. I mean, what's the? Is that helping anyone?
Greenock drives me nuts. See, when you see the Gaelic for Greenock, right?
Mm-hmm.
That should be Darich Uania, but it's not. It's Greenock.
Yeah.
But is it not a bit weird that you would want to use the Gaelic name for something that nobody uses a Gaelic name for? And if you say, I want directions to, and you give the Gaelic name, and well, I don't know where that is.
Well, I have heard a couple of people. So the classic one that everybody whinges about is Fort William. Okay. And then English, it's Fort William, and Gaelic, it's in Garriston. And it has been for 300 or 400 years known as in Garriston.
So we're calling it the wrong thing. If I say Fort William, I'm actually wrong in saying that then.
It was renamed Fort William by a king. It was known through the Highlands and Islanders in Garrison, the garrison for since before 1745.
Well, this is exactly the same as I'm saying, except the other way. Then, in that case, I shouldn't be calling it Fort William. Fort William's wrong.
Gaelic predates English by a long, long, long way.
Well, yeah, the name of the place is the name of the place. If the name of the place happens to be Gaelic, then that's the name of the place. If the name of the place happens to be English, then that's the name of the place.
Yeah, but it's you would refer to it. If you come from one culture, you would refer to it with one name, and if you come from another culture, you would refer to it as another name. That's how it would work.
So my knowledge of Gaelic's quite limited, but the one that's amused me greatly is that I discovered that the other name for the bathroom is the Little House. Is that correct?
Daybreak, yeah.
Yeah, and the number of people who name their holiday cottage basically toilet because they don't understand what they're doing. They just think, oh, Little House, that's a cracking name from a holiday cottage. So you drive around the north of Scotland, there's all these holiday cottages called Toilet. It's just
a lot of people stopping in front of them.
Yeah, the temptation must be there, to be honest.
Hey, Ravi.
Hey, how you doing? Hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We get a funny thing happening here, just not far from where I am, Connemara. But like in Ireland, everything has English and Irish versions on the signpost. But you arrive in Connemara, it's still like that, and then you get into the Gaeltacht area, and then suddenly everything is in Irish. But on the map, it's in English. So you're looking for a direction for somewhere like in English, but like none of the sign and direction is matching. It's a night. You see people just getting lost all the time. Like.
Yeah.
I found it hard in America asking for like the toilet. I'd be like, "Where's the loo?" And they just wouldn't have a clue what I was talking about. Or the little boy's room. That's what they say. Or bathroom. Or
restroom they like as well.
Restroom. Yeah, that's one that I'd never used. Restroom. You know,
the shitter.
Yeah, the bog. That's what I'd say.
The clutch.
Jesus, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they have weird bathroom stalls there as well. Like the sides of them, they've got like thin gaps in the bottom.
Yeah, and the bottom and top there. Yeah, I guess it's kind of you avoid the kind of the panic you get. See, you're sitting somewhere having a shite, and then suddenly your door rattles. Is there anyone in there? You're like, yeah, don't come in. Oh my god.
Are you going to be long?
Well, I'm now, you prick.
You might want to give it a minute after I've been in here. That's what I usually give it. The Scottish accent. Who does number 2 work for?
Oh yeah, ages since I've seen that. I need to watch that again.
Classic.
Ollie's never seen Austin Powers. He's
what?
No.
It's like Wayne's World or something. It's one of those classics that you have to
never
see.
seen Wayne's World, never seen Dumb and Dumber, never seen any of these.
Oh, man, Wayne's World.
Dumb and Dumber you could miss happily, but and Wayne's World, okay, but Austin Powers, I mean,
I'm not a big
it's
movie
got a
guy
video
anyway,
toaster T-shirt in there. You know, you need to watch Wayne's World.
Yeah.
I never had enough time to watch full films. I think that's what it was.
You've probably seen them, you just don't realise it, because it's probably been a Christmas where you've had a bit
Oh,
too much to
yeah,
drink
yeah,
after
yeah.
Christmas dinner, and you've seen like 30 minutes of it before you fell asleep.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've seen enough extracts of pretty much every single film pass on either YouTube or Twitter or something like that.
You see,
Yeah.
To
the
be able
main
to reconstruct
character
them.
one of the sort of the main antagonist in Austin Powers is called Dr. Evil, and I am Dr. Leary. So I honestly finished my PhD just so I could be Dr. Leary. You don't
That
get the
is very
reference.
funny. Yes, yes.
You don't get
Demand £1 million for everything. Yeah, yeah.
$1
Yeah.
million.
Yeah, he's been frozen for years. He's been frozen for like 3 decades, and he comes out and he get this demand. He'll blow up the world unless he's given $1 million. And he's like, "1 million, just give it, shut up."
Don't you think we should ask for more?
Yeah, I completely wrecked my leg this morning. So I
What'd you do?
was walking.
Yeah, what
I was walking to the gym, and we've got this road that's like 45 degrees, really steep. There's some moss on there. And I just wasn't thinking. Slipped up completely, scraped all the skin off.
What you want is Timpson's Permagrip, 1999.
some snow boots or something.
Jesus. Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah, so I was intending on going to the gym, but now I'm stuck here with a scabby
man.
leg.
Is it bad?
Yeah, it's quite bad. Yeah, because I was wearing shorts, and then when you go on the concrete,
Oh,
all
yeah,
the,
like a
all the
meat
little
crayon.
stones and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Get in the bath and soak and pick it all out.
yeah, already done. Yeah, but that was an exciting start to the morning, and then I was like, right, my day's done. I'm just gonna sit in, play
I'm going home.
PlayStation games. Yeah.
It's almost insulting hurting yourself before going to the gym,
Yeah, it's
or on
just
your way
like-
to the gym.
and then you can't go for like a week or
Of
two.
course.
Yeah, because you don't want to ruin your injury. Yeah, but I did find every episode of Top of the Pops online restored, so I'm downloading that at the moment. A huge amount of it. I'm ignoring the Jimmy Savile period, but all the other stuff I'm downloading, all the 90s.
I think it would be interesting to watch the Jimmy Savile period, just with the benefit of hindsight. If you see what I mean, you can figure.
Oh man, the
Yeah,
cringe value in that would be
It seems that-
incredible.
It
Probably
seems
get
that
nightmares or something.
I
It was
know.
like an open secret that everybody knew. So if you're watching it, you should be watching what everybody else does, because everybody
Yeah.
that's involved in it
Yeah.
allegedly knew that he was, although it was gossip, I guess, to them. So there's nothing they can do about it. But just a kind of an open secret that the guy was a nonce.
I think there was
Amazingly.
like Tony Blackburn and stuff. There was quite a few people that presented it as well. But when he pops up in the episodes, I'm like, oh, get rid.
There was
Yeah.
there's a radio program called Just a Minute, and I used to love Just a Minute. As
Oh,
just
that's a
something
good
to
one.
listen
Yeah,
to.
and
When I've
Nicholas
got-
Parsons, is it?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
I've got a hangover, or when I've got a migraine, when I'm not feeling well, I'm trying to fall asleep. It's great to fall asleep to. Unfortunately, it turns out that one of the guys on it is a pedo, and he was there the whole time. So that's it. Can't listen to any with him in it, and he's in them all.
What was it?
Uh,
Graham Norton on that as well, and they had quite.
Yeah,
I think Paul Merton as well. They had.
Oh,
a few-
everybody's been on it, but
Yeah.
it was Clement. Is it Clement Freud? Clement Freud pedo.
But by the time we get to 2050, everybody we knew as kids will have been labelled as a pedo, or some sort of scandal will have come out about them. I'm pretty sure.
It was to say
Philip
amazingly,
Schofield,
Jimmy
for
Savile's house
Jim
has not
Bowen
burnt down
was
yet.
not a pedo. I'll just put it out there.
No, he doesn't even look anything. You'd be shocked if he was. Some of them you're like, oh yeah, I can see that. But Jim Bowen, no. Jim Bowen, you wouldn't. I think he's a nice guy.
Philip Schofield, right? I didn't even think he was Gordon the Gopher in the Broom Cupboard. I mean, come on.
So I'm not really sure. Is Philip Schofield ended up developing a relationship with a young guy that he met that's above board but feels creepy when it's described in a certain way? Is that right?
Yes, I think it was a bit of a snog with somebody, or something happened, and yeah, it was they spun it in a certain way, and I think my impression is that now I'm going to be careful here because I don't have the money to defend this in court. But I've got a feeling his co-presenter may have just decided
Yes.
to put the knife in.
Well, I felt if this was a girl, not a boy, I didn't think there was a scandal there. I think people might be disapproving, but I didn't think there was a scandal there.
Philip Schofield is a girl. Come on, he is a girl.
I was amazed that Andy Peters is back on TV because I don't know, he disappeared for years, didn't he? I don't know what happened to Andy Peters, and then suddenly he's back on this morning or something,
He was
or
on
one of the
children's
TV
in the
shows.
90s, wasn't he? 80s and 90s.
Yeah, but he did a load of Amiga coverage back in the days as well. Yeah, like some of the games. Yeah,
that's interesting.
You assuming they disappeared? There's a reason they disappeared.
I think he went to QVC for a while.
Right,
was just selling.
Was he
crap.
the guy that done that show with Violet Berlin?
I know that was.
I
Andy
think there's
Crane.
somebody else.
Andy Crane.
Andy Crane. Sorry.
I'll
shut up.
Sometimes chat to her in Discord. She's on one of the Discords. I'm on, Violet Berlin. Very nice.
Right.
She's
She's married to Gary.
Gaz Top.
What's his name? Him that done the
Top.
how-to.
Oh, with Michaela Strachan as well. He did that.
Michaela Strachan. Oof.
That nature TV show for kids. I can't remember what it's called.
Go Wild.
Yeah. I think that was it. Go Wild.
Go Wild, yeah. That rings a bell.
Yeah, the Ozone. That's what Andy Peter did, and that was with Andy Crane as well.
Peters and Andy Crane. I don't know the difference.
Well, Andy Peters is former broom cupboard BBC presenter, CB.
I am thinking of the guy that done
Ed the Dog.
Bad
That was
Influence.
Andy Peters. Yeah.
What
Andy
was
Peters
Bad
was a bit of
Influence?
an
Was
eye.
that Violet? Bad Influence. I'm googling that.
Andy Crane looks a bit like Jeremy Vine.
Yeah, we had him on the podcast, and he was like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about games. I don't really have many memories." And we got him on, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, Mickey's Castle of Illusion," and he was going all about the Game Gear and stuff. So it suddenly came from the recesses of his mind.
Yeah, it was Andy Crane. Bad Influence with Violet Berlin.
Yes,
Is a
so-
1990s British factual television programme broadcast from 1992 to 1996. Looked at video games and computer technology and was described as a kid's tomorrow's world.
Namrud, which is doorman backwards. There's a YouTube channel called Rose Tinted Spectrum, and a guy on there does a lot of reviews of Spectrum stuff as well as other stuff. He's really good. He's really getting popular now. He's really good, but he also does a series Breaking Bad Influence, where he looks at and reviews Bad Influence episodes. And Violet Berlin just arrived one day to chat to him in his Discord. Turns out she's dead nice.
Cool. I've heard that alright. Yeah, I can't remember who else was saying it, but it could have even been you.
I just
Someone said,
remember
"Yeah, it's
one
chatting about her."
episode. She went out to Virgin. I think it's Virgin with Dave Perry, and he was doing like the Aladdin ports and all of that stuff in America. She's like one of the only presenters that went out, and she was in Micro Machines as well. She's like the character Violet was based on her, and
All right.
a PC game called Normality. I don't know if you remember that one. That was a very weird title.
Dave Perry, I've got the impression of him that he's an absolute throbber. Am I wrong about that? Was it a bit of a TV persona, or is he actually a nice guy, or is he actually a throbber?
I think there's two Dave Perrys. So there's
Yeah, the
guy
one
that
I mean. Yeah.
did the Virgin Games one, and then there's the Games Master.
The
Dave
Games
Perry.
Master Dave Perry is the throbber, in my opinion, at least. Am I right about that, or is it just the way?
I'm not sure what the definition of throbber is. It's probably a Scottish slang. I'll have to look it up on Urban
bell end.
Dictionary.
A bell end, yeah.
A penis.
Let's not go to the bell end
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Don't Google it on your work computer.
Come up with some dodgy sites for that. Yeah.
I'm asking if you've had the rest.
Oh, we had Dave on. He's all right. Yeah.
Is he?
Seemed,
Okay.
seemed quite sound. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's from Mike Daly, Ravi.
We've got to get
Oh,
Mike
nice.
Daly on this. We've got to get Mike Daly on this at some point.
Yeah, I've got some plans for next year, so we'll see what happens with the event. Yeah.
Well, Kickstart.
Yeah. I've got some plans mainly to take the after party into a nightclub. So that should be good. But
What a disaster!
Yeah.
A bunch of 40 and 50-year-old men drinking far too much, way past their bedtimes.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Stephen's thing as well.
yeah, we it's not public though.
Oh, okay. Nothing's happening. No.
I'm not looking forward to Stephen's thing then.
But yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you guys. I think I need to kick Hoffman up the arse because I think he's the only one who hasn't booked his flights, so everybody else is locked in. Although he has said he'll come, but he hasn't booked things. Yeah, been getting things set up in here.
Pete says I organised a piss up in a brewery, but I didn't tell you that we blew the speakers.
Oh no!
The bass bins on some of the speakers. Had to replace them.
What's your bass bins in this one?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
So
man.
hopefully the club sound system, it's like based on a Function One sound system, but it's like all modern and done up as well. So it will have like limiters and stuff because I think we had this Game Boy DJ and I think he just like wrecked the subs.
It was fat, man. I couldn't believe the noise he was getting out of those Game Boys. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I think you said that the football stadium were really happy with you. Were the brewery happy as well? Was it?
Yeah, it's second biggest sales that they had at the brewery for beer. But yeah, football stadium loved it as well. So there's a room upstairs that I'm going to move the talks to. So I'm going to move the talks upstairs to a room, and then the trader hall can be bigger. And then I'm going to, instead of having round circle ones in the user group, I'm going to do like rectangular tables, so we can fit more groups in, and that way we can like expand but keep the same venue.
Get
Nice.
Dr. Leary to do his talk. It was good.
Yeah,
Would you do it again? Would you do it again, Stephen? The talk you did.
My talk.
Yeah. Would you repeat it?
I mean, yes, but I thought I was pushing my luck doing it once.
I'd like to get
That's a
more
great talk.
hardware
Great
stuff there, because it was all kind of game based. So it'd be good to get like some hardware talk and stuff.
I think people would feel cheated if they'd already seen the RMC video. If I did the same talk again, I'd have to jazz.
Have you ever seen the Oliver Twins? I mean, it's the same. If you've seen the Oliver Twins once, you've seen them forever. They go and do the same thing. I mean, that's their story. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's nobody really complains that they're doing the same thing again because that's the story of it.
No, I mean it's an interesting talk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you saw it, Stephen, before anybody else, apart from my family. Really, I think you and Jen came along and said, "Sit down. I'm going to do the talk."
Yeah, I mean,
Talk at you for an hour.
I still watched it 17,000 times on YouTube.
No, but thank you for that one because I think it was about 2.5 weeks out. I was thinking, better put something together for this. And I thought better at least run through it 3 times before I go because.
No, it was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So I don't know
You'd be
what
surprised. I'm sure some people would enjoy hearing it live and also being able to ask questions at some point.
Yeah, that's a point.
That was what I was trying to do at Neil's, rather than the talk was I thought was sort of secondary. It was more like giving people a chance to get their hands on the stuff that I brought and being able to interact face to face.
Yeah, it'd be good to have you there, and I'm trying to aim to get someone from the original Amiga team, but flights at the moment are mental, so I'll have to try and work something out. See what it's like next year.
Yeah, is at the moment the guy who seems to be most keen is Ron Nicholson. because he's not been
Yeah.
doing it for 20 years.
Oh man, I'd love Dale Luck as well because he's got like the original Amiga sandwich boards, you know, in his garage. He's got like all these bits of original Amiga tech and stuff. It'd be really cool to get out. Ron as well seems well eager.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make sure we get dates in early, because we'll need to get a biffa booked for Rob. So
Dave
Yeah,
Haney. So Peter's saying Dave Haney, but Dave Haney's not the original Amiga team. I don't class him as original. I mean, he's an absolutely amazing guy, but he's not on the original. I wouldn't call him the original Amiga team.
Yeah, Dave did the Boing Ball demo with RJ Michael.
Yeah, Dave Luck.
Dale Luck did, yeah.
Dave Luck, yeah. So, but Dave Haney was Commodore, not Amiga. That's. I mean, I've met Dave Haney and he's a great guy, but I think even he wouldn't class himself as original Amiga team. It's like RJ, Carl. I'd like to meet Carl. I'd like to know what he was smoking when he wrote Exec.
Carl Sassenrath.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really cool. He was at the Amsterdam one. So he does come out to Europe occasionally.
Carl, obviously a lot of the guys are now not with us anymore. Like
there's Dave Needle. Yeah.
Dave Needle and Jay Miner, obviously. And
Glenn Keller as well. He'd be interesting. Paula chip designer.
But Ron was you were there in Amiga Ireland, Ravi. Ron was super interesting guy. I met him at Amiga Ireland and Amiga 37. Super interesting guy.
I liked how Frankie was with everything. He was like, "This didn't happen. This happened," and he was just really like, down to earth. Like,
yeah. He was absolutely spot on. You listened to that talk as well, Ollie. You were there.
Yeah, that was great. It's very easy to listen to as well.
I love Amiga Ireland. It's such a nice little event. It's like just got a cozy vibe. Yeah. And lots of drink as well, which is good.
Are you planning on making Kickstart bigger?
I think if I increase the talks upstairs, I can do another 100 or 200 capacity. So it's all like dependent on the amount of space you have because of health and safety and stuff. But yeah, I think if I move it upstairs, then we can get an increase. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm happy to do a talk, but it has to not be the first 2 weeks after the schools break up in Scotland, or I can't. I mean, that's the 2 weeks. If I don't do those, I'm divorced. So.
I mean, all of the talks that Neil's got people in to do, I watched them all and I've enjoyed them all. There's not, it's as long as someone puts a little bit of effort into preparing it, it's great. They're enjoyable to watch.
So we should get Ollie. Ollie needs to do a talk about how he does his banjo covers.
Ollie, a talk would be great.
Yeah, would you? I like the idea of covering the different companies as well. So, like, have a bit of Team 17 in it next time, and Gremlin, and Ocean, and kind of change it around a bit because we have Bullfrog, and we had DMA as well and stuff. So it'd be good to have all the different representations of the companies. I tried to get Mev Dink actually, but he was unable to make it across. But that would be quite cool.
So Ollie's going into defensive mode now that we mentioned him doing a talk. Actually, you mentioned him in Ireland.
Ollie's just trying to think of what jingle he could use for his talk.
I guess it's a question of trying to get the balance right between encouraging someone and saying, "No, look, you can do this," but also making sure you don't make someone do something they don't want to do.
Absolutely. But then, if you went over to well, I think first protocol was probably test the water at Neil's. Great place to start out. I think the audience was. Because your audience, how big would your audience be for a talk, Ravi? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think we could increase the capacity because there was, quite a few put in. But I think I'm not quite sure. I think maybe we had about 50 or 40.
So I was shitting myself at 30.
So there was standing bit at the back as well. But
I was going to say there were a few talks where there were all the seats are taken and there were people standing behind.
Yeah.
Not all the talks, but it's probably 50 or 60 people. Yeah.
So like upstairs, they've got like a proper conference room as well and a projector and stuff, and you could do it properly. And then everyone would just go upstairs and it would empty out downstairs and then suddenly fill out again. But if you put the bars in the right position, that always moves the traffic across.
Yeah. So I think Neil said he was only allowed 30 in the cave at any one time.
Yeah.
But
I was surprised at how small the cave was compared, because you see it on video.
Yeah.
And you see the scale of it, and then you go there and it's
not small. I don't think it's small. I think it's perfectly sized.
But I didn't see the stall when he had it, the retail space. I've only seen it before the retail space, and I've not even seen the arcade downstairs or any of that. So I saw it when he just moved in, really.
Right. Because he's opened up another couple of spaces now.
Yeah. He's as big as he possibly can be there. He's used every bit of the 2 story areas have been turned into stuff. I've not been since the arcade was built, though. It's a year since I've been to the cave. I'm dying to go down and see the arcade. I think the arcade, they've got as much as they possibly can in, and they've got, I think they've got a decent amount. They must have got 30 machines in there.
Oh, more!
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah,
because it's the good stuff. I mean, it's the good stuff as well. They've got.
I remember upstairs he'd sectioned off like a section of it, and he was like, "This was going to be the arcade," but I guess
secret arcade.
He's now using that bit. So
yeah, he's going to. The next thing he's going to put in, he's got a lab put in there. The next thing he's going to put in it is a kind of an office for making games, kind of thing. There's a guy going to move in and make games there, so kind of see the process of doing it. Kind of, I think the intention.
That's across the corridor from him. I think is that.
Is it? I don't think so. I thought it was going to be in this. What was the storeroom behind the sliding door? I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. There's not a lot of room in there to put someone in for an office.
No,
you might be right though.
Yeah, I'm not certain. The one across the hall was the print farm. When they went and they launched the NMS, they were doing so much printing the cases for it. And there's a print farm there. It was mesmerising going in and just seeing all these lines of 3D printers just doing printing out the stuff.
So when I went in there, when I went down and met up with Holly, and we brought all of my stuff up and we just dumped it in that room initially until we got it all sorted out. I gave him
Holly deserves a medal. She's done so much for Neil.
Yeah, kicking him up the arse. But yeah, then I got to see the arcade repair area, and then the it's really called the Pump House as well, which I just appreciated.
Have you been to the Leicester Museum as well? That's ram-packed full of stuff.
I've not. My schedule this year's been pretty busy, so I need to get out again. But
they've got the original, virtuality machines. So they're all running Amigas and like CRT monitors on your eyes. It's like neck strain, and you've got a 3000 strapped to your back as well and stuff. But it all works. It's pretty amazing.
Wow. Well, that'd be worth a go. Yeah, that Leicester,
yeah, and it's just on like an industrial estate, but it's literally like the best bedroom you've ever been in, because it's got like absolutely everything there, and then they've got like a library as well and a huge storage space. I think they might be expanding. I need to go back. It's been a while, but they only open on the weekends, so you got to pick the right one.
It's quite a few of these places now. There's a lot of it happening. I don't know if it'll all be there in 10 or 15 years' time. There's this bubble just now, but there's loads of places open up. I hope it's all sustainable.
I hope so. Well, my wee boy's really interested in it. He's dead into it, and Rob's boy is as well. You can tell.
Oh yeah, training him well.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing. When I was a kid, I was into older computers and looking back at them and stuff. And modern kids must be doing that now.
A lot of them were. I mean, I would be more interested in Altairs if I could find any to get hold of. They're just rare, and so rare it's hard to find them.
I'm not so much interested in this stuff. I think once you get beyond anything with kind of before the Apple II is not that interesting to me. The Altair, for example, I'd like to watch a video on it, but that would be I would like to watch a thorough video of it, explaining it and taking it apart and all the rest of it. But that would be the limit of my interest. I probably wouldn't want to have one to play around with.
I have a hankering to get myself hold of a Kim 1. Really would like to get a Kim 1, an original Kim 1. And if I did, I would get a trace made of the PCB and I'd repro some of the chips. And for me, the Kim 1 is, there's people done reproductions of it, but they're like done to modern techniques. The Kim 1's got these wavy traces on it's like artwork on the PCB. And I'd just love to get a Kim 1, and just like you got these traces that they're drawn by a pen. They were not drawn on a computer. I'd love to get one of them, or get a reproduction, even a reproduction of the board that was faithfully reproduced from the artwork. I would love to get that. Get my hands on one of them. Kim 1s, they're basically Commodore 64s, but without a graphics chip base.
Well, I've been delving into the world of Atari. I've got a ST over there on my Amiga DJ deck, so I'm gonna kind of mix the two sounds together and see what I come up with.
So I normally would applaud you, Ravi, but because Dave's here, I'm gonna have to.
Boo earns.
Kick me out of the chat.
No, well, you know that probably one of the best performing videos I ever did was the Amiga and the Atari next to each other, playing the banjo, dueling banjos.
But they're both playing the same thing at the same time, aren't they? It's not quite alternating between the two of them. That would be the ultimate.
Well, I disabled channel 3 on one of them and channel 4 on the
other.
Right,
okay.
So one plays the first, so it's literally dueling banjos.
It is great, okay.
But it's it's really,
see, that's just a bit of fun. Anyone who gets upset by that kind of thing is an idiot. It's just a bit of fun.
So many people went mental about that.
Honestly,
really,
it's just fun.
Jeez.
I love what Ravi's doing. I love that Ravi's getting into them, getting into ST and see what they can do. I mean, in my opinion, I always think of the Amiga coming after the ST. Although they both came out in 1985, what came out in 1985 was two very different products. Mm-hmm. It was only a few years later that you ended up with both of the wedge form factors at the same time. The Atari ST really, in my mind, came out first. The Amiga came out later. The Amiga's kind of peak was a wee bit after the ST, and I don't think there's any controversial. I don't think really needs to be a fight about it. It's all fine. It's all fun.
It's all quite easy as well. I got this.
The only fight,
Satan.
Yeah, and it's just straight away. You just put the card in. It's all partitioned already. Yeah, just fire it up.
The fight came because of Jack Tramiel.
Well, he liked to fight.
Yeah,
that was
the
whole
marketing
thing,
for him. Yeah. He started out. It wasn't the Amiga he wanted to fight with. It was the Macintosh. When the ST, when it first came out, was called the Jackintosh, because all he did was he took the specification sheet for the Apple Mac at the time, and he met, or in most cases far exceeded what the specification was: better resolution, bigger monitor, more memory, effectively a faster CPU, because the Mac, it was 8 megahertz, but you only got 6 out it. The ST was 8. So he battered all the specs of the Mac and then came out with a much lower price. And the problem was, of course, the infrastructure wasn't there that you got with the Mac, and the software wasn't quite there. Although it was quite good. But he was just a combative marketer. That's what he was out there. He was all about
it's what he did. It's how he tried to buy Amiga that pretty much great with most Amiga users because he tried, instead of whatever it was, he gave them a loan and tried and knew they weren't going to be able to pay it back. And
He
so
wasn't even involved at that point, as far as I know, to be honest. That was Atari themselves. Yeah, he got involved later because Warner, was it Time Warner that owned Atari at the time? And they decided they wanted out, and he basically went in and he bought it off them for $1.
He bought the computer side of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eric.
And then when he went digging through, see, man, when he went digging through things that had happened, that was when he discovered that Atari had loaned the then Amiga Corporation a huge amount of money to finish what they were doing, on the grounds that if they didn't become profitable and pay it back within a certain amount of time, Atari would inherit all the technology. If Amiga had made money before Commodore got involved at that point, they were allowed to make computers, and Atari were only getting the Amiga technology to build games consoles. But that gave him a legal hammer that he then used to try and stop what Commodore were doing, because they basically came in at the last minute, funded Amiga, bought it, and gave Amiga then the money to pay off the Atari loan. But the argument was it wasn't them that did it. So
the problem with the whole Commodore bailing out the Amiga thing is that the Commodore didn't really have the money to do it. So Commodore bailed them out, and then Commodore failed to launch the Amiga properly. They didn't get the software there. They didn't get
their marketing was pants on head.
They started to charge developers for access to develop stuff for the Amiga. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. You should be paying the developers. You should be desperate to get it there. Commodore's mentality was always about finishing a product to them was getting in a box and getting it out the warehouse.
Yes.
Whereas what they learned, if you look at any successful launch in the late 80s and in the 90s and onwards, the successful launch wasn't just getting the box out the door, it was making sure developers were making games and productivity software for your stuff, making sure the whole infrastructure was there. And Commodore just didn't get that. They were cancelling trade show appearances. There was a shortage of stuff in the shelves with Amiga. They were the bank was telling them, no, you can't do this.
They took it right to the edge. I mean, have you read the Brian Bagnall books?
No, I haven't. No.
They're great. They're really good. But I mean, you don't realise how close to the edge they were. They were literally circling the drain at one point.
But it was all
trying to get it out.
It was all short-term plans with Commodore.
Yeah, completely.
But there was
quick fixes, you know.
There was no happy ending for the Amiga in 1985. If Atari had got their way, I don't believe we would have seen the Amiga from Atari. Atari would have maybe made the ST with Paula, and they might have made a better ST. They might have made one with a blitter and all the rest of it. You wouldn't have had the Amiga as it was. So it's not as if there was one good option. If you know what I mean, it was either Commodore doing the Amiga as they intended, but without the money to push it properly, or you had Atari kind of ripping it apart.
They would have gobbled it up, you know. But also, like, just talking to launches of stuff, like we've done a load about the Xbox when that launched. And that was directly after 9/11. It was one of the first events in Times Square, and Bill Gates was running around with Xboxes, giving them out, trying to get them in people's hands. You know,
I don't know if people really remember what was happening back after the Xbox launched, but all you could find talking about people online was how much of a flop it was, how it's going to fail, it's never going to succeed, how much money Microsoft are pissing up the wall. And it's true, Microsoft had to piss loads of money up the wall to get it to stick, to get the Xbox to stick. But it did stick, and it obviously it's a success now. But the amount of money needed to launch something, even 3DO had a consortium behind it, and it didn't catch on because they couldn't get it, and they couldn't fund it enough to get it out the door cheap, so that it was an impulse purchase rather than an investment, and it didn't catch on. Then they were forever chasing, they were reducing the cost, but not by enough, and it failed because, again, they didn't launch it properly.
Now, as much as I have my criticisms of Dave Pleasance, this is where he really did shine in the UK with Amiga. He managed to get these he managed to get them into people's houses.
Obviously, he's famous for the Batman pack and all the rest of it, and he was right to market it that way. However, you could, and I don't know how much I'd say this is definitely true, but there's a criticism, there's a point you could say, well, what he did was he kind of cannibalized the Amiga and sold what was there to kind of to get them by kind of undermining the brand a bit. I mean, if you look at what he did with the 1500s eventually, he was selling. Almost selling home price machines to business and all the rest of it there. So there's an argument what Commodore were trying to do with Amiga was keep it as a premium thing rather than reduce it, cost it down, and get it that way. I don't know.
Well, there was also Colin Proudfoot, and no one seems to mention him, and he was like co-MD as well with David Pleasance, and he did a load of other stuff as well. Like he was saying that there was all this old Commodore stock when they took over Commodore UK, like just all around the world, you know, in random places, and he ended up hiring like military planes, you know, with the loaders and just getting all the stock on them and getting them into the right places and stuff. So, you know, I think, yeah, they were joint MDs as well. So there's a lot of focus on David because he talks about it a lot. But Colin's based in America, and he did loads of stuff. He did the whole football, you know, when they had the football shirts and they had Amiga on it. I think it was Chelsea. Yeah. He did that whole deal as well. So, yeah, there's a bit of a gap there. But Colin would be really good to do a talk, actually.
I mean,
I'm going to go. Have a good night.
I'm going to head off as well.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right. Good luck. Cheers, guys.
Good night.
All right. Cheers, Rob. See you later.
See, I always reckon that they launched the Amiga wrong. They should have had the 500 and the 2000 from day one. Instead, the 1000 is the desktop is a form factor that you can't easily upgrade internally. So what's the point of it not being a wedge? If you know what I mean, it's kind of like the limitations of the wedge, but the cost of the big box. They should have had the 2000 from the word go, but that's easy to say now. It's
hindsight, yeah. I mean, the thing,
nobody knew what they were doing.
Also, like beautiful. It does have the edge connector, so you've got your one Zorro slot basically. But yeah, that was before Zorro was even a thing. So
and they also got EA on board with the 1000.
Yeah,
so,
very
they
early.
wouldn't have had D-Paint or any of that stuff.
You can't judge anybody on their first machine because you don't know what. But I think the 500 and the 2000 should have come. The 2000 basically was a dirty hack because they hadn't done it. And it was a dirty hack by the German part of the company.
Yeah, the Rev 4 2000 is pretty kludgy.
I mean, I know this is a sort of term that I use in engineering. It was Black Ops by the German engineering teams. It was Black Ops because they were trying to sell this thing and there was nothing they could sell, so they were kind of forced into doing this.
Well, they also weren't communicating as well. None of the group, like Sega, when they had, you know, Sega in Japan, they were all doing their own separate thing. It was like, where did this come from? No.
But I mean, if the Amiga had launched in 1985 with a proper expandable desktop as well as a cheap budget-minded wedge, and they got the software right, it would have taken over the world.
Ultimately, though, I think the demise of the Amiga was it wasn't ever going to scale.
No, because there was problems with is file access, and it's not a multi-user operating system. Is that
not even that? They're
it's memory protection, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
If you look at how many staff they needed to support their user base, they needed too many staff per user. That just didn't scale economically.
I think the peak was when they had the 500, and that was the time that they, you know, the only time they were in profit. And then when they kind of scuppered the 500 or just, you know, did the really bad deal, it all just started to decline then.
But if you look at, if I look at what I would imagine a technology company should have in terms of number of staff, and I look at what was on how many people were employed in the deathbed vigil, when I look at that video, that was too many people. Too many people were employed for the amount of sales, for the amount of...
Yeah, well, they had their fingers in so many pies as well, because I mean, you talk about Amiga, but it was Commodore who were buying in PC clones, slapping Commodore badges on and pushing them out the door again, but at great expense. So a lot of the money that was coming in from other things was then being used to pay for weird projects. I mean, even things like the C65, as cool as it is, how far that made it through development when it was clear that 8-bit was gone and 16-bit was the new thing. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. But then that's what happens. It goes back to all the books you read. It goes back to Tramiel leaving, no one person having a solid vision. And then again, fiefdoms, exactly as you said, little groups went off and did their own little things. And that's budget going in every direction at once, but only some of them made money back in. So that's just not sustainable. You can't do that. But they did.
I think it would have been a madhouse working there, to be honest.
It sounds it, yeah. Have you read? Sorry,
I was going to say, when people talk about the demise of the Amiga, and if this had happened, they might have made it. They could have made a contender. If this, they always talk about the kind of the early 90s, 1993, 4, 95, as if that was when it was. That was when it could have changed. I think the problems were years and years before.
Yeah,
that.
I think it was about 1988 where they screwed up big time.
I think, but if they'd made the changes 87, 88, they could have survived it. But by then it was a case of.
But they didn't have the vision, and also they probably. I mean, you'd have had to predict the future. They should have been producing 3D chips then. And let's be honest, a company like Commodore wasn't going to be able to produce that kind of level of. They weren't investing in their fab. They weren't investing in the right areas. What they were doing was spending a whole lot of money supporting their existing user base to get as much money out of them as possible.
And paying huge amounts of money to MDs that weren't doing very much as well. So that didn't help.
Neil's take on it, which I think is really, really worthwhile, is he thinks that Amiga should have turned into a chipset that you put in a PC. Because that in my opinion, what you got with Amiga was two things. It was either the operating system or it was the custom chip, the chipset in there. It wasn't it wasn't the actual hardware itself. It was the chipset and it was the operating system. If they'd managed to get the chipset into a PC, perhaps that's how they could have survived. That sounded to me at least partly credible.
I think it was kind of faith. I think they didn't have enough faith in the actual product. Like I heard stuff about, when they did the Juggler demo originally. And that got sent to the main Commodore officers, and they were like, "No, this wasn't made in an Amiga. Like, it can't do that." I don't think the salespeople actually knew what they had.
The advertising, like all the advertising from way back in the days, is torturous. It had so many capabilities, and I think the original advertising in America was black and white. I mean, you've just got this amazing multimedia machine before people knew what multimedia was.
Like 40,000 colours or something.
Yeah. Advertising it in black and white. Brilliant. That's great. It really gets your point across.
Hi, Brett.
Hey, Brett.
We are, for a change, talking about the demise of the Amiga and how it could have been saved. A topic that's never been talked about before.
Probably not on Fishwise, because we usually talk about everything else except the Amiga.
How dare we talk about the console computer that
I think also their attitudes towards third-party companies as well was really bad. And working with anybody, they'd just try and get as much money out of them as possible and not collaborate. They were quite ruthless.
Hey guys.
Hey. Evening.
I got my audio fixed.
Hurrah!
I kind of want to jump in this conversation about
Oh, you've been listening,
Amiga
right?
and all that. Yeah, I have been listening. Yes, I think it was one of the first ones of these that Stephen did, that he was talking about in the mid 90s when Apple wasn't doing so well, and obviously Amiga was not doing so well. And I can't remember the exact quote, what he said, but he said something about that Amiga might have been able to take over, Apple's position. There's one thing that, living in the States, that I can say I don't think that would have ever happened, and that's because Apple had a stranglehold on schools here.
Okay.
I mean, every school had. When I was in high school, we had Apple IIes in just about every room. The offices were running off of Macs. Universities, all the computer labs were either PCs or Macs. So I think that was part of what maybe kept Apple alive.
Yeah, the education market.
Yeah, they just had a vice grip on that.
It makes sense. Yep.
So here in the UK, and this will be amusing, we all I don't know. Guys can contradict me if I'm wrong, but we all had ARM-based computers.
Mm-hmm.
We all had
EBC micros and
we had
Acorn
Archimedes.
Yeah.
Archimedes, which are basically now iPhones.
Yeah.
Bizarrely, we never did. In Fife Council signed a deal with Apple, so I was the same as what Brett's saying. We were all Apple machines. All our computing labs were all Apple.
None of those ARM machines ever made it over here. I mean, and you guys know that just as well, but we never had Acorn. We never had a BBC Micro. We never had anything like that over here.
We were
primary school. We had Acorn.
There was a very, very straightforward reason for that, though. If you were to import a machine into the US, and this is one of the reasons why I operated the way I do. If you import a machine into the US, it had to meet all these FCC regulations that you didn't have to if you manufactured in country. So it's one of the things when I realized that.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's just trade protectionism. It's just it's not really about the FCC. It's just about protecting.
No, I think it really was FCC because I mean, you guys, Commodore 64 over there doesn't have the RF shield on the bottom, generally, or on the top of some of the later ones. But over here, shields top and bottom.
But I mean, Stephen's saying that you didn't need to meet those regulations if you made it in the USA, which sounds.
Oh no, you
did, yeah.
You
did. Okay, sorry, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So you needed
so
the Amiga has all of these ferrite beads on every I/O port, which you don't need to have in the UK. You didn't need to have in the UK.
Could we get a ferrite bead on the 1232, please? It's no use without one.
Just because.
So, but they had to then respin all these boards and it was expensive to meet to then import. But one of the things it was one of the things I thought of when we were doing the Terrible Fire project, which was, look, I got the boards shipped directly to North America, and they were built in North America and shipped from North America. We didn't ship stuff. I mean, it would be very rare. I mean, somebody places an order with Chucky. It's not fulfilled by Chucky in North America. It comes from Alan Marks.
Yeah, that FCC stuff, they've really relaxed all that over the last.
Was it necessary back then? Was it overkill? It was necessary. Okay.
It was at the time. I think it was just that at that time we didn't really understand as well as we do now. The emissions coming out of these machines, or the lack thereof, or the scope. I don't know exactly, but that's what I suspect. Is just electronics were still kind of new, and these computers are still kind of new, and that's my best guess.
So my thinking on this, I don't disagree with you, Brett, but what I think I said before was, if Amiga was still around, it would be Apple.
Yeah, they were both at like this low point in the 90s.
If one had, I mean, maybe you're right, it wouldn't have happened. But on the premise that what you would have, I think what I was coming from was, if Amiga had survived and Apple, let's just assume Amiga had survived and Apple hadn't, it wouldn't be this kind of hipster thing that it was, this cool thing that it was back in the 90s. It would have been taken over by shareholders. It would have been pushed towards making money, and it would look just like Apple does now.
Possibly. I mean, it's the same model, really. I mean, it's proprietary, across the board, just pretty much like most Apples have.
The reason Apple is able to make money is because if you look at what Apple does, is they reduce the permutations for their support.
Mm-hmm.
So they have got, whereas Amiga have 5,000 options. You can do anything. You've got AREX. You've got all these things that we love, right? They were cool.
Mm-hmm.
But every one of these little permutations, every one of these little different little gizmos or gadgets, that's a thing that has to be supported by somebody. That costs money. That has a tangible cost to it.
It's the walled garden, isn't it, with Apple?
Yeah. With Apple, it's walled garden, but the walled garden isn't just there because they don't want you to do stuff. It's because they don't want to have the support overhead.
They want consistency.
Yeah.
And on the far extreme of that, you've got the PC world. which
And
is
that's why we all slated
anything goes.
Microsoft for all these years. We all beat them up because Microsoft, you know,
Bailed out Apple as well. Which
Well, they
was
bailed out
one
Apple,
thing
but-
Amiga didn't get. Yeah.
anyone who remembers PCs in the mid 90s, they were flaky as all hell because
Yeah.
there was so many permutations. It was so difficult to test all the options.
And Microsoft now, they still struggle with trying to get rid of legacy stuff that doesn't do them any good. They try and get rid of this legacy stuff and put new things in and say, look, your PC needs to meet these spec, and people fight back. People don't want it. Companies are still using software developed 20, 30 years ago, and they just don't want to pay the money to bring it up to modern standards. Whereas Apple just say, no, that's it. Go on. You have to build a new thing, a new bit of software for it.
Yeah, Apple's probably one of the companies that switched architecture so many times. Like compared to the PC that's probably only done it, once recently, but Apple's changed around from everything,
I mean, PCs though still support the old way. Yeah. So yeah, that's I think that's my take on it. I think if Amiga had survived, the operating system and the way everything worked would have had to sort of have to funnel into because there was only two ways to go. There was the way the PC was doing, which was the open everything. There was the open source Linux route, or there was the walled garden route, where everything is spoon fed to you. There was only those three options available, and
I thought it could have survived as like a portable OS, like maybe onto mobile devices or something like that. Just because it was so lightweight. And maybe not as a desktop machine or
So the biggest issue with Amiga OS, as far as I can see, was brought up by Ron Nicholson when we were at Amiga Island, which is there was no memory protection, there was no security. It can't be secured at all. And people who work on Amiga OS think it's a great thing that it can't be secured, but really, if you work
it makes the car a lot lighter having no real
but you can hit any address nearly. You can't. There's no concept of tasks are completely walled off from each other.
No, I mean that's exactly what Rob has to go through in all of his Blitz Basics tutorials, is make sure you don't roll off the end of an array, for example, because you will just eat part of your operating system or another process, or you'll kill something badly and your machine will hang.
So that doesn't happen in modern operating systems, and that's the thing that a lot of people on Amiga. I mean, this is like step one on a road of 2,000 or 3,000 things that have happened since the Amiga OS was.
But for the time, I mean, for what they launched and what they did, I mean, as you say, I'd love to know how they pulled the exec out. But by modern standards, no, I don't think there was not a clean way forward for it, unfortunately, because
that was also kind of true of Windows up until NT was brought out, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, NT was a completely different architecture. It had the hardware abstraction layer and all that, whereas 95 and 98 and everything before that was.
But don't underestimate how big a step NT is. There's an MMU there, right? NT is huge. The guy to go and listen to about this is Dave Plummer. He's got a great YouTube channel on this. And he was originally an Amiga dev. He did not an Amiga operating system dev, but he wrote software for the Amiga. He wrote Hypercache for the Amiga.
Oh yeah. He went to Microsoft.
And then he's one of the most well-known Microsoft operating system developers. We should get Dave Plummer on this.
Right, I've got to go, lads, and give my.
No worries. Thank you for joining, Ravi. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, man.
Bye.
Get well soon, Ravi.
Yeah, hope he heals up. Cheers.
So, Stephen, just a thought occurred to me. So, if MMU would be like the bare minimum for, something more secure and memory protection and all that, let's just say that was the bare minimum. If the Amiga had eventually made like an 030 and 040 as its like base CPU that had those features, if I remember correctly, could you see have seen maybe an NT version or equivalent of Amiga OS possibly come out in a hypothetical situation?
It would look a lot like NetBSD, but with exec type operating system calls.
So in a way, it almost looked like what Apple OS looks like now.
Yeah. It's
It would
funny because
require-
they all evolved in towards this. They were all converging towards this way of thinking. Even really under the hood, there's quite a lot of that under NT, although they made it look a lot like the original Userland. You'd break too much of the Amiga memory protection, but if you don't add memory protection,
You'd almost need to do the whole emulator layer type thing, like they did when they went from Mac OS 9 to OS X. You'd need the new operating system with those features that could run old software in something that it thought it was running on an old Amiga, basically. I can't see how you'd be able to sort of
there's only
softly
two
do it.
machines I know of. In fact, I'm even going to argue against one of these in a minute, but there's only two machines I know of with an operating system as complicated as the Amigas without MMU, without you having your own page, without proper cleaning up your memory when you exit the function. And Amiga sees that as a feature. You allocate some memory and it's around for all time because there could be a task there. But it's absolutely horrific because every process that starts should look in memory exactly the same. It's one of the things that makes software reliability so much better. The only other operating system is TOS, is the Atari operating system, but at least it's got a bit more abstraction going on. Amiga is it's so easy to trash the OS. It can't recover from a crash properly.
With all due respect to the Atari ST operating system, the Atari ST operating system can't do loads of things that the Amiga operating system can do. The Atari one is not as advanced as what the Amiga does. It's not the same ballpark.
But it at least used a syscall mechanism for calling the operating system, which means you can abstract things a bit better.
Do you realise that I'm bashing the Atari and you're bashing the Amiga at the moment?
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm a software engineer and I hate there's a lot of things about the Amiga OS I hate. So I'm not a massive fan. I don't use Amiga OS. I use Diagram most of the time anyway.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that you're working with such low memory constraints compared to today.
Yeah.
Importantly, when the Amiga and the Atari ST operating system were designed in 1984 or early 1985, they were designed with the idea that memory was considerably more expensive than it was in 1985. So the Amiga launched at 256. The Atari had plans to launch at 128. Then no, 256. No, make it 512. They didn't think they would be launching with half a meg. So they weren't as
I know
with that in mind.
The problem is that the Amiga's operating system, apart from a bit of a facelift, didn't look much different 10 years later.
No, because I think it needed Commodore to say, "Here's this big bag of money to spend on the Amiga's operating system," which all Commodore could do was say,
because they did do that. That jump from version 1 to version 2 was huge. So much work was done to clean things up. That was when they got rid of most of the BCPL stuff, flipped it to C, massive facelift, and then they basically just stopped funding the OS development team and they all buggered off. So at that point, what do? You've been left with like a tiny group of people, which is why things then end up getting sort of, yeah, thanks, hi. Are you going to move?
Hiya.
Yeah, good. Go on. Thank you. Anyway.
Right, folks, it's 12:10, and I was stuck at half 8.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same, man. I think my cat wants me to go away as well. So.
Yeah, I'm surprised I managed to get how many? Oh, Jesus, we're nearly at 3.5. We're nowhere near the record, but it's respectable showing.
We just need somebody to fall asleep. I vote Ronald McDonald.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Remember those pictures I was showing on RMC's Discord? I've been working on these.
Oh yeah.
Getting there. I got some passives. I'm about partway through the passives on this. On this one out of 5. So
T-shirt.
What?
Yeah. Vampire Killer.
Anyway,
Is that a
that's why I
Buffy
was
T-shirt? Is that what's the context of that T-shirt? Just a design of a T-shirt, or is it?
It's Simon Belmont
Castlevania.
from Castlevania.
Right. I don't know the concept.
It's a Castlevania T-shirt, but it has a double meaning because it's Castlevania. Ollie's a mad Castlevania coverer of Castlevania things. Plus, my chief rival in the accelerator space is a vampire, so it's a great.
Are you rivals though? I mean, yours is good.
Yours has less bugs overall.
In fact, I should be clear. I don't have anything against the vampire, but I don't get the vampire at all. I don't want one. I don't get it. I don't. I mean, no.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It just turns the Amiga into just a I/O backplane, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's not just a brain slug; it's a total takeover with something else. And
my problem with it is it's really not got much potential beyond where it's at now. That's my opinion anyway. I think FPGAs are people thought they were amazing and we were going to be able to do 5 gigahertz within it, but you can't. You can barely do 200 megahertz within it.
Well, the whole OEO thing, the vampire, is just so contrived. It's so
That's I think the phrase we use here is willy waving.
I sometimes bash the Amiga for trying to, at the point where Amiga lost out to PCs for gaming, at the point Amiga was beaten by DOS gaming, and it was really obvious that there was hundreds of things you could do on the PC you couldn't do in Amiga. I always feel as if Amiga people are trying to keep fighting that fight and get a really good version of Doom or even Dark Forces and all those kind of things running in Amigas and say, "Oh, see, look, it can do it." And the OEO feels as if it comes from that same place.
I completely agree. Why not play games that were meant for the Amiga or written for the Amiga?
It's got wonderful games to play, wonderful games. Yeah. You put an 030 on it takes the edge off those, and it means you can play them in an even better, enjoyable way. For me, that's great. Just be happy with what's there rather than this looking at bashing the ST and then trying to catch up with the PC. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the good stuff.
There's all this Doom stuff. All these Dread and all these things. It's great, but it's about 30 years too late.
It's certainly interesting.
It's better on your PC, right? I honestly think that there are a couple of titles that I think really benefit from the 060 card. Things like NEMAC 4. You can't really play that on you can play it on an 030, but it's not as nice. And it's a good game, and you can't get it on the you can't get it on a PC. So, but there's not many of them. Wouldn't say. And the demo sceners. That's
they want the power, yo.
I've watched the demo. I think the demo scene's going a little bit. It's going a little bit backlash the other way, where they're saying, no, let's do an 020 or an 00 demo rather than doing a demo that's relying on an 060 because it's doing stuff that it isn't as tight. It's not as hard to do because of that. I don't know.
There's a bit of that, and I don't disagree with it. I just like to be able to play the 060 get demos on my machines.
Yeah. But for me, even with my ST, it's the Mega STE, which is software select. It does 8 megahertz or 16 if you want. So 16 is double what a normal one does. There's the Falcon and there's the Atari TT. I don't want the Falcon or the TT. They don't. I don't think they really justify. They don't do stuff. They don't do ST. It's ST stuff I want to do. They don't do ST stuff better than this Mega ST does it. I mean, I wouldn't mind at some point having an accelerator for the Mega STE. It'd be nice to get that in just for the few games that would need it. But I don't really feel a need to go much faster.
So I had somebody on Neil's chat on the video I did.
Oh yes, I know what you're going to say. Yeah,
had a crack at me about the Falcon and the TT, and I want to set the record slightly straight. I think the TT is as rare, if not rarer, than the Falcon. The Falcon, though, they are rare. Anything with less than 20,000 units made is rare, right? It's end of story. I mean, the Amiga 1200's probably well, it sold 95,000 units in Germany, so I'm guessing it's probably going to project up to about 500,000 units worldwide. Anything less than 20,000 units is rare, ever, if it was ever made to those volumes. The guy
I think you could be even more than 20,000 and still be very rare.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't think the TT is any more or less rare than the Falcon. The Falcon, my problem is the Falcons are lemons. They're all lemons. They all have issues. I mean, there might be some C-Lab Falcon. Is that the right term?
Yes.
The Sound Studio Falcons that are fine. Probably that. But those are in particular people's studios, and they're probably museum pieces now in those studios. Or they're being used and they're being maintained by guys like Kent. But you can't have a demo scene for something with only 16,000 machines. Can you?
I don't think you should say you can't have Falcon demos, but it's not the same. It's not the same thing at all. It's not like anyone can pick up an Amiga and have one. The Falcon is so expensive and so rare, and they're all, like you say, they all need heavy restoration and all the rest of it. It's not that I know people who have a Falcon who say, I don't know why I've got a Falcon.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you only have 16,000 machines for it, then you probably only had 1,500 developers of software of any kind at all for it.
But it didn't succeed. And also, from your perspective, I don't know about the Falcon internally and the TT internally, but I think, I was to guess, I would say the TT has expansion possibilities. It has ports, or it has pin headers and all the rest of it inside that the Falcon doesn't have. And you'd have to be brain slugging the Falcon to do an accelerator for it.
Yeah.
Whereas the TT, you can probably produce a card.
Yeah, they can use.
Or maybe the Mega STE, you can produce a card for it. Go and do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The backplane on the TT is 32-bit. The backplane on the Falcon is 16-bit. And the Falcon, and the whole Falcon machine is a machine that's only 16-bit. That's astonishingly poor for a machine that's 16 megahertz 030.
I think the chipset in the Falcon is better than the TT. The Falcon can do there's heavier stuff there than heavy lifting there that the TT doesn't have, though.
I completely agree, but it's just I can see, like, you could use ST software on the TT more or less, and I'd get the 32-bit benefit from the 060. Plus, where would you? Plus, there's already a 060 solution for the Falcon.
Is there?
Yeah,
Shows you much attention I pay.
CC603.
Right.
So somebody's already done it. So why would I want to reproduce? Why would I want to?
I'd like you to make one for the STE. I don't know if there's an expansion port that you could use for it, but I couldn't justify you do that. There's hardly any Mega STEs around. There's not really any significant appetite for it. It's nothing like the Amigas.
The 536 will go in the Mega ST.
Would it go in the Mega ST as well? I know it goes in the STE, but I don't know if it goes in the Mega as well.
No, it doesn't go in the STE. It goes in the ST and the S and the Mega ST. Anything with a 68,000 socket, it'll go in.
Because the Mega STE is the big box version of the STE. So it'll have the PLCC one that you don't like, rather than.
Yeah.
So I think
it's in the same category as the Amiga 600 for me.
Yeah, unless
the Mega ST should be fine.
On next week. Although I'm not. I'm gonna probably sell it on. The only one to the keyboard. I always wonder if the expansion headers in the. I mean, there's an expansion slots and so on in the Mega STE, whether they could be used for an accelerator or not. I've never wondered enough to find out.
I
The
might
information's probably out there.
I might look, but I've got too many other projects.
It's not a project you should do though. You shouldn't do it. It doesn't make sense. There's other things that would be much better uses of your time. So as much as I'd like you to do it, I can't.
But look at the TFMSX. That wasn't a very good use of my time, but it was hilarious.
It's great though. I mean, it's great. And also, it's more justifiable than a Mega STE upgrade. Anyway,
I agree. But the I think I'm gonna knock it on the head, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm going to head anyway. So I'm feeling quite burst now. So
I struggle to stop speaking at any point. So just tell me.
We'll just all leave you with the last one in here. If you can fall asleep, Dave, and stay like that all night.
What I can do is I can finish off what I'm saying for 10 hours.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
worries.
Right. Good night, guys.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Take care.
See you
Have a
later.
good one.